video is still playing. It's okay. We're figuring it out. What's going on?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Stream with the Cream. You're here with the Dream Boys. It's going to be a live show tonight for Final Fantasy VI/3. You're going to love it. It's so good. Turn-based combat at its finest. I love Super Nintendo, probably my favorite system of all time. Retro as they come. I love it. I love the 4 buttons, the controls, the directional pad, the D-pad is what they actually call it now. But it's super great. Any thoughts, Dan?
No, I mean, I agree with most of that. Hi, everybody. It's me and Dave. We're here for another classic stream, classic lazy stream. People came here thinking, oh, that's cool. Maybe one of them is going to be drawing something and I can learn things about art. But nope. Final Fantasy VI. Gotcha. Hello?
Hello.
How you doing, man?
We thought about playing a game because we know that that's what people come here for, but we were like, no, that's probably not a good idea. But then we just had to do it because
well, here's the deal.
Experience that you can't live without.
Let's just get this out of the way right now. For anyone wondering from the art community who comes here for art stuff, I mean, like, yeah, you will be seeing some more of that, like, now that the Amazon stuff is pretty much over and we can, like, get back to normal life. But here's the thing. Pretty much full-time for the next however many months, me and Dave are going to be working on the second Steve book, so it's going to be like a full-time job. So we're probably going to be doing mostly video game stuff because we can't show the book. We don't want to spoil anything, and that's pretty much what we're going to be working on. I'll be doing some study streams and some critique stuff. Dave might hop on and do some painting once in a while, but a lot of this channel is going to be discussions. It's going to be gameplay stuff while we talk to other people. Maybe some interviews, things like that. But yeah, that's kind of the direction we're going to be going in because the next book is 50% bigger than the first book. And we're putting a lot of time into it. And we don't want to, like, you know, show us working on it because then it's going to spoil what's coming in it. But yeah.
Hey, Dan, can you turn me up manually from the thing?
Yeah.
Okay, because they're saying I'm real low, like I'm talking through a pillow.
Whoa, you're real low. Go ahead.
Hello.
Keep going.
This is Dave Rapoza.
Keep going.
I am an average-aged, younger, older guy with a mix of painterly and illustrative qualities in my work.
Younger, older guy. I like that. Keep going.
But I do a lot of things, you know, casual, but I'm also, I feel like I'm a professional, but I'm not necessarily, I wouldn't call myself a professional because I think that that's in bad taste.
Why would you?
One thing I like to do is I like to make a coffee and I fluff the cream before I put it in. Not
how do you fluff the cream? Can you walk us
job.
through fluffing the cream? I think a lot of people listening don't fluff their cream and they'd like to learn how. How do you do that?
Okay, so what you do is you make some fresh brewed coffee, you grind up the beans, you know, you put it together in a filter, and then you put the water through the boiling water. And after you do that, you don't want to burn the beans, though, so...
Trace Thompson just subscribed for 2 months in a row. Trace!
You talk about fluffing cream, Trace. Jeez, you fluffed mine right up.
Trace just fluffed our cream, man. 2 months in a row. Now that's some fluffy cream right there.
Trace, you trying to cream my mouth right now?
Here's the crazy thing about cream. When you fluff it, it actually gets bigger. Takes up more space. Keep fluffing that cream, it's just going to keep growing.
So anyways, what you're going to want to do is you get another little pot, right? This little one, like it's one specifically for cream. And you put it on the stovetop while your coffee's brewing, and you heat it up a little bit, right? You heat it up, and after you heat it up, you get your frother. Now, this is something that you're going to want to buy. They got them up on Amazon. You get that.
Do you have one that you recommend? Which one do you use? Is it a name brand?
Damn, I think it's just a frother wand. But
whoa,
anyway,
go get a frother wand, guys.
They're cheap. You
sounds
bring
like
it
a
over.
sex toy. Great for coffee.
Hey, don't interrupt me. You go over to the sink, and you take your froth cup and your wand, and you cream it up, and then you pour it into your coffee once it has that nice foam. If you've ever been to a coffee shop and they got that foam top on top of the coffee, boy, is it good. It makes it feel a little smoother than if you were to just put cold cream into your coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do that. Why would you do that?
I don't know. Crazy, I guess. Fancy man with his fancy frother. Here's the illusion there. You think, wow, that sounds fancy. But here's the thing. It only takes a minute.
Okay. What's the cost of it though?
I don't know, like $5.
Yeah, I guess
Just need-
that isn't
cream.
frothy.
It's just cream, whatever,
It's
dude.
just cream.
You buy cream that you normally put in, and then you put it in the thing, and then you heat it up, and then you froth it. The frother's like $10 if you want to get a solid one.
Sure.
And then you pour it in, and you're good. You know what I mean?
Sounds about right.
So good.
So anyways, if anyone listening wants some updates on what's going on with Steve, basically, where's a good place to start? There's so much going on.
Just say the gist of the Canada stuff.
Okay, well, basically, for anyone listening who doesn't know, who might be from Canada, or people that don't have their audiobooks yet and they're wondering why, Canada, here's the thing with Amazon. They told us that they could ship to Canada originally, so we sent all the books to Amazon. Then they said, oh, turns out we can't ship to Canada for a technical reason based on a law in Canada. So I said, okay, send all the books to me, and I'll mail them to Canada personally. So then they said, okay, we're sending all the books to you. So then I get 2 books in the mail. I get a huge box, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then I open it up, and I'm like, it's 2 of my own books. And then I get 5 books. And then I get 1 book. And then I call Amazon, and I go, hey, are you sending a pallet with my 550 Canada books on it? And they said, oh no, that's not how we do things. We've sent you all 500 books, but they're going to be showing up in individual packages over the course of the next month. And eventually you'll have all 550 of them. They'll just add up to 550. And I said, can you just send them all on 1 pallet so I get them early and I can just send them to Canada and not have 300 individual boxes to unpack and store? And they were like, yeah, no, we don't do that. So if you can believe it, that's how Amazon sent me the 550 books. I didn't even have all of them till last Thursday. Packed all of them, boxed them, bubble wrapped them, shipped them. They're in Canada right now, processing through customs. Once they're in Canada, what's going to happen is, here's the other cool technical thing. I learned a lot about customs. Basically, the reason I had to wait till I had all the books is because sending the books individually, like, as they came in from Amazon and I mailed them out one by one, I'd have to fill out a minimum of 3 customs and tariff documents for each one, which would be 1,500 documents total. But if I waited till I had all of them and put them on a pallet, I only had to fill out 3 documents because that 1 pallet counted as 1 shipment, the same way that 1 book counted as 1 shipment. So there you go. To avoid the huge amount of taxes of sending 500 individual books, I had to send 1 pallet. They're in Canada. Once they get offloaded from the pallet when they clear customs, then the carrier that I hired is going to put the labels on them and activate the tracking. They told me possibly by the end of this week, early next week. So they're in Canada. They're coming to you. They said Montreal, Quebec, that area. Probably going to get them within 48 hours. All the other territories up to 5 to 7 days. So they coming. What that means is that we held off releasing the audiobook because clearly, we want everybody who bought a book to have their book before we put the audiobook out, because we want people to read it before they get the audiobook, or some people want to read it with the audiobook. So that's coming out like next week sometime. Like, it's ready to go. We just want to make sure that everyone's books are like at least on their way before we put it out, because then the other thing is a bunch of people's books just disappeared because Amazon just lost them. So I'm trying to I took all of our stock with Amazon that we had, and I had them send it to me because I didn't want them to get any more damage than they already are. And I can take better care of the books than they can since they stripped their packaging. So if people need replacements, I'm just sending them myself. So basically my full-time job right now is dealing with missing books that just one person reached out to me today, said, hey, my tracking says the book was delivered June 23rd. Where is it? And I'm like, oh, well, it's clearly not there because that's 6 weeks ago. So I'm sending a replacement. Another one, my new favorite, someone said, hey, I'm going to need a new copy of the book sent to me because my apartment building burned down. And I said, oh, well, that's a valid reason, so I'll send that out. But, yeah. So, lots of little Amazon things I'm learning along the way. Right now, I'm actually locked out of our Amazon account, and I can't track anything for people manually. Up till now, what I've been doing if a book goes missing is people don't have tracking that works internationally because of how Amazon works, but I could track it manually. I can't track stuff anymore because they've locked me out of the account because we're disputing the money that they basically threw away when they took our packaging off. So basically, I'm just taking people on their good word, sending replacement books out. But yeah, all the lunch boxes are packed, ready to go. Those are going out. I think the ones that don't have stuff inside them are getting mailed out tomorrow. I'm going to do that in the morning. And then the ones that have stuff in them are probably going to go out Monday. And then the audiobooks are coming out right after that. So yeah, that's where we're at. Sorry about that huge monologue I just had. But if anyone has any questions, happy to answer it. So much information in my head now about international shipping and Amazon and all that other good stuff.
And let's just say the lunch boxes are coming too. They had a delay because they had this weird glue residue all over them, and Dan had to individually heat each one so that the glue melted a little bit so that he could then ship them.
I forgot about that. I had to heat treat everyone's lunch boxes with radiators and hair dryers. So when you get your lunchbox, remember that I baked it with love.
Yeah.
Baked it.
Literally.
Solid.
That's the delay that was on that.
So there you go. That's why those got delayed, because it took 15 minutes per lunchbox.
So stupid.
Yep. Burned my fingers pretty bad. Turns out when you put tin in front of a radiator, it gets really fucking hot.
It's cool though.
Pretty great.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So anyway, even with the book done and our generous deadline of May, which we met, we actually shipped the book on time.
Yeah.
Even with all that, even hitting our Kickstarter ship date perfectly and everything going according to plan, Amazon still found a way to fuck us. So thanks, Amazon.
Thanks, Amazon.
You're dope.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you, Amazon.com. We almost had a Kickstarter where every single thing shipped on time. You found a way to ruin it.
Beautiful.
Anyways.
So, you excited about anything?
I was actually. What am I forgetting?
I don't know, Suicide Squad.
No.
Then you weren't.
I was really excited that they set up a petition to shut down Rotten Tomatoes because they didn't understand it was an aggregate site. That had me excited that people are that stupid. Creating a petition to ban opinion. Pretty great.
I like because they have such a strong opinion of their thing that they want to ban other people's opinions.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Okay, so if Amazon sucks, how are you going to ship Volume 2? Well, I found a pretty good solution for shipping international with Volume 2 that isn't Amazon we're probably going to use. Domestically, we're probably still going to use Amazon because for people in the United States, Amazon didn't really fuck anything up aside from removing our packaging. If I can get a guarantee from Amazon that that won't happen again, everything else, domestic US, actually went off pretty well. There's only 20 missing copies out of like 5,000. So that's pretty good. International, I found another carrier I think we're going to use that's way cheaper, better than Amazon. So, yeah, way more accountable. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at for book 2, because definitely not doing this again.
Yeah, they have gone way out of their way to fuck us.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, what else am I excited about? There's a new James Jean book coming out Tuesday. I don't really know what's in it. I can't tell if it's just like his pattern stuff or if there's like drawings. I'm gonna get it anyway, but
I didn't look. I saw the update. I saw his like Instagram post with the book in it, and I got the email.
The print is cool on the rag paper, but like I don't want to pay $200 for an 8x10 print.
Oh, is the book itself $200?
No, the book is $40, but the only way to get the print with the custom like stamping and stuff is to get the $200 deluxe version of the book.
Oh wow!
Which has it has like a door in the front of the book. You open the door up and the print is inside of it. It's cool, but like I don't want to pay $200 for a very small print. Like all of his huge stuff is $200 too. I'd rather wait for the next like big one. I'll definitely get the $40 book though.
That's such a crazy place to be in where you can charge that much for your art. Like just to like
Well,
make a
it's
book and stuff.
crazy. It's crazy how much work he turns out now. Like I was looking at how much stuff he put out in the past year, and I was like, oh, you can do that. Like, okay, you
Well,
can put out hundreds of things a year.
he said in an interview that like the only reason he wasn't doing that before had something to do with his divorce and his wife being able to like claim a
Yeah,
good portion of all
his
the
wife
stuff.
was able to get like I think it was 50% of everything he sold for a certain amount of time, so he had to let that amount of time pass without really making any money. It's in the back of his book. He talks about it.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
I think it's in the back of like Xenograph. So he basically couldn't sell any work or make any work because she had a claim to any work made within that period of time that he sold later she could get a piece of. So basically he just did nothing for like 5 years and just let the clock run out.
Imagine having that kind of like hate
No, I can't
inside
even.
you.
No.
Like I'm not gonna do anything publicly for years.
Yeah. Yeah, no way.
Yeah, that's some serious.
And I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say, I don't care why they got divorced. That's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
You don't do that to another person. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it is crazy. I can't even fathom that. Like
Yeah.
just sitting there and being an artist and not being able to do your thing.
That's why I said to Dave, you're marrying Kim. Congratulations, but get a prenup, dude.
I know. I can't imagine that conversation either.
No. You
Like
bet.
what?
Hey,
What kind of conversation is that?
Honey, I love you. Can you sign this contract saying that you're not gonna fuck me later?
Just saying, like, I love that conversation of being like, I know eventually we're probably gonna get divorced.
Yeah, amazing.
So, could you do this?
It's the logic of going, I don't think we're gonna get divorced, honey, but if and when we do. Like,
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
I'm just gonna go by the words of my dead father. I don't know how to put that in any
Jesus.
better way.
Jesus Christ.
Sometimes you gotta bite the bullet. In regards to marriage.
He did. Yeah? Yeah.
That was what he told me. I was like, Dad, how can you stay with Mom? Well, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet.
Wow.
It's like
That's,
pretty good.
yeah, knowing both of your parents, that's definitely some advice that sounds like your dad said it. Yeah. He gave some really blunt advice.
Good advice. Bite the bullet.
Ugh. Man. Your dad really had the best opinions on everything.
Yeah, he was funny. And then time ate him alive.
Wow. There we go.
Oh.
But remember, in his last moments, he reached out to God.
Oh, I know. I know. Still the best.
You ever tell that story on here about how the guy hijacked your dad's funeral?
Yeah, I told it not that long ago, actually.
Oh, okay.
On one of the streams when I was just on here.
Yeah, when I was boxing books. I love that. I loved being there for that and, like, realizing it was happening as it happened. Like, oh, he's taking the funeral away from Dave's family and making it all about him. Great.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy.
He's hijacking this funeral.
Yeah. That was, like, surreal.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was sitting there, like, I remember Kim put her hand on my arm when it started happening, and then she just kind of squeezed a little tighter as it was going on, and I was like, that's like when I knew that, like, you and Kim were definitely working. I was like, yeah. Yeah, she's furious right now. Like...
Yeah, Kim took it more seriously than I did. She started, like, crying.
Yeah.
She was pretty upset about that. But I was more, like, blown away. Like, wow.
Truly great.
Never seen anything like this.
It was unbelievable.
But how do you do that?
It's truly unbelievable.
Yeah, that was good. You know how it goes. Let's
So anyway,
talk.
do people have questions and stuff, or are we just hanging out?
I mean, we're mostly just hanging out. The thing is that I can't necessarily be looking at the chat. I'm doing stuff while
Okay.
Dane's doing this.
Well, tag me in the chat. I think I'm Steve. Let me type. I think I'm logged in as Steve. No, I'm Daniel Warren. Whoops. Tag me with topics and questions. There you go.
Are you Dan?
Yeah, I'm Daniel Warren in the chat. If you guys
Are
want
you in
to,
real life?
I'm Daniel Warren today.
I'm Jacob Maxwell in real life.
I woke up and put on Daniel's skin. I started to think about what it was like to be him. Tag me with stuff, and I'll actually see it pop up with the little, highlight, and then I'll be able to check it easily. But, yeah. So, audiobooks coming out soon, like next week after we're done with confirming all the books have actually gone out, sending the replacements, and it's just crazy to have everything done and not be able to, like, do anything with it. Like, to have all the books waiting for 6 weeks like they have been because of Amazon, to have all the lunch boxes just sitting there because we have to wait for the books to go out, like, oh my god, I hope this never happens again. It's the craziest feeling to be like, oh, we did everything right and we still can't ship it out, like. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna wrap up and then we'll have 45 days to get ready before we do the next Kickstarter.
We are going to completely unhumbly ask you for help.
Yeah.
Because on the next one, we're trying to get the word out about the book. Like, literally, our company is us. It's me and Dan.
We have no employees. It's me and Dave, and occasionally my mom helps out.
That's acceptable comics.
Yeah.
And we're self-publishing. So it's like, when we do book 2, if you guys want to help us spread the word or get the word out there about the email list that we have right now, like anything like that goes like a super long way for us. Or if you got the book and you like it and you want to like spread the word just to people, like if you have your own thoughts on it or whatever, I would love that. You know, we have the link to the mailing list in the chat there. So if you could share some love, like we're coming up on this deadline and we just like don't have any time. Like we're going to do our best to get the word out to reviewers and things, but we just don't know if we're going to have like last time we didn't really have any coverage.
Right.
Like we had a couple of sources cover us and, you know, obviously we appreciate that. But as far as like a broader, comic audience, we just didn't have anything besides our own things that we did on like Imager and Reddit.
So if you can help us share it, get the word out, put the mailing list out there, join the Thunderclap when that goes live again, so it just kind of shows up everywhere.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a lot of that, and like really any help you can give us would be great, because again, it is literally just the two of us. So, but yeah, let's see. How is the schedule of the stream like? When does Dave usually paint? There isn't a usually right now. There might be after we're totally done with all the book 1 stuff in like a week or two. We're so busy working on book 2 that we haven't like made a schedule we've committed to yet. We want to do that in the future so people know when to come to see stuff. Right now there isn't one. It's kind of just we stream twice a week. It's a lot of video game stuff and discussion stuff. Sometimes Dave does a painting. I'll eventually start doing crits and studies and stuff on here again. But as of right now, there isn't a schedule.
Yeah, life is just crazy. Like we were saying, like we're just two people doing the whole self-publishing thing. So like when we're doing it, like as much as I want to so badly just spend like 2 days doing emotes or something, like for this stream. Like I want to do that, but like time is so crazy. I don't know, like the extra things we've been doing, and we want to like overproduce for everything that we said we'd do. So like we try and go, you know, as far beyond as possible for the stuff we're doing for Steve.
Yeah.
So keeping with that, we can't really spread ourselves too thin while we have business to do. So it's like, it's just crazy. It's too crazy.
It'll even out soon, someday. Sorry I missed the convo about the Canadian books. Will there be track numbers for the packages? Yes, there will be. I gave the carrier who's handling it everyone's emails that are attached to their orders. What I'm not sure of is if they're going to email you with the tracking or if they're just going to give the tracking to me. That's one thing that I'm not clear on. They told me multiple times they were going to be sending out emails to everybody, but based on everything else that's gone wrong, I don't want to say that's definitely going to happen. Either way, though, there is tracking. If I have to look it up for you, it's fine. I'll just do it. But yeah, there's definitely tracking included. I made very sure of that. Who does the voice of Douglas 10-Speed in the audiobook? Spoiler alert for people who have not heard the audiobook, which is everybody, and people who haven't read the book and don't know who Douglas 10-Speed is. Douglas 10-Speed is not in the audiobook because his section is only in the back of the book in the Kickstarter extras. He has a counterpart, though, named Clarence Wetmouth III, who is the narrator of the audiobook, and who goes on a grand adventure of self-discovery across the 31 chapters.
Yeah, Douglas, he runs more of the book side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And Clarence, he's doing the audio stuff.
Yep.
They're two different people.
There you go.
Yeah, I really like I really like the audiobook. The audiobook, if you're wondering, you're like, what is this Clarence and why is that a thing in the audiobook? It's because the audiobook is basically the entire book that you got from Steve Litchman Volume 1 plus an entire another book's worth of material. We wrote double the material for the audiobook because everything the narrator does is its own thing. It goes with the book, he comments on the book, and he interacts with it in his own way. So it's like the book plus another book.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own thing. So I would suggest that you read the book first and then do the audiobook.
If anyone watching isn't here to hear about Steve's stuff, this is the part where Edgar, the king of Figaro, after meeting up with his estranged brother Sabin, who went to train, meets up with Bannon, the leader of the Returners, a resistance group fighting Vector and the Empire with Emperor Gestal and Kefka. And they find out that Terra is half Esper and can use magical powers.
You don't have to do that.
What are you talking about?
You don't have to share that.
I'm sharing it, man.
Damn.
Bannon's saying that with her power, the Returners could actually stand a chance against the Empire, but the rest of the group doesn't want to use Terra as a weapon. She's a
what do you
person.
think?
Anyways, here we go. How the hell do you focus on something for so long? I have problems focusing on one project or genre. I mean, there's two kind of answers to that. The first one is you just kind of have to do it, which isn't a great answer, but like you just have to get better.
It's the reality of it.
It's the reality of it is just saying that you're not good at focusing on stuff is basically saying I'm choosing not to focus on stuff. It's another enabling way of being like, I'm just not going to do it. It's letting yourself off the hook. The better answer to that is that because we're working on it together, we can keep each other accountable, which is like, you know, sometimes I'll really want to jump ahead and do something, or Dave will really want to jump ahead and do something, and the other one of us will have to be like, well, hold up. We kind of have to do this first. And like, you know, we can kind of keep each other on track that way, so that helps a lot. But, yeah, so...
Yeah, that's you saying that, or just deciding that that's what you're going to do. Like, I know the feeling you're talking about. Like, I could just as easily say the same thing. It'd be like, well, I masturbated today and I'm feeling sleepy, so it'd be way easier to just hang out and maybe
play a game, go to bed,
play a game,
order pizza.
maybe eat a whole pizza by myself. Like, I could do all of those things. I do that even still. Like, while we're in the middle of working, there'll be a day where I go, you know what? I just need chips today.
There you go. Chips here we are back at chips and salsa.
I'm telling you, the chips and salsa saga. I have eaten so many chips to the point where I just go, time for bed. Have you ever put yourself down by eating?
Oh,
like,
yeah, I've done that.
Like you're a dying dog and somebody just needs to kill you.
Yeah.
And you just eat yourself there.
Yeah. You go, well, I do want to sleep tonight, but I don't want to get groggy by taking an Excedrin PM. So I think what I'll do is I'll eat a whole thing of nachos. I think what I'll do is I'll order a pizza and eat the whole thing. I think I'll make 8 bowls of spaghetti.
Yeah.
And then you go to sleep.
It happened to me last night. I worked a lot yesterday, but here's the thing I also did. Me and Kim, we ordered Middle Eastern food. And then we picked it up, and it was real good. And then I was like, well, that was a big portion. I think I'm just going to eat the rest of it.
There you go.
And I just kept coming back to it, and I ate all of it to the point where I just, you know, I got that glaze.
You get the glaze, yeah.
You know, the glaze. And then I started drinking some alcohol. And then I thought like, I'll sit on the couch for a second, just a second.
Pop open a YouTube video.
Yeah, and then Kim started to get a little sick because she's had like this sinus infection for a little bit. So she laid down, and then I was like, wait a second, I got shit to do. So then I went into the room, office, and I just started working, and I got it all done, and I was like, there we go. Let's get this back on track.
You guys know how in fantasy worlds, like, you know, Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, they always have those maps, those drawn maps with all the mountains and stuff, and like the names of the fantasy towns and cities. There's always like a place where the map ends, like the unknown lands, where they just like have a cool name and there's nothing drawn there. Like, my version of that in real life is the land beyond coffee, where you've eaten so much food that coffee can't bring you back to feeling awake. Where you've literally condemned yourself till your day is over. There's nothing you can do now to wake back up. You just gotta call it. That's me. I wander into those uncharted seas, and then I just gotta give up. It's when a Monday becomes a Tuesday. It's just, yeah.
Born on a Monday.
Woke up on a went to bed on a Monday, woke up on a Wednesday. Is the way I like to put it. Just when Tuesdays don't happen.
Danny Man Grundy. Yeah, exactly. I know that feeling very well.
Did Aiden come back from vacation? I didn't know Aiden was on vacation.
Yeah, he came back from vacation, and he's been screaming again, just as I thought would happen. And, you know, it's like you go, oh, hey, Aiden, he's gone. And, you know, his parents told him, hey, you shouldn't be talking. You shouldn't be yelling so loud in your room playing those video games. And then he comes back, and it's been a little while. He's had his break, and he's back at it again. So, I don't know. What do? You tell the landlord, right? Yeah, you tell him the first time. I told him the first time, and it didn't change. So, I guess it's up to me now. The Dark Knight. I'm going to have to kill him.
There you go.
He's going to be like, what? From this height? You can't kill me. And I'm going to be like, I don't want to kill you. I'm going to drop him and break his ankles.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're going to smash him through the window and then sky hook him into the air. While his parents go, no!
His parents are like, Batman, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, just hold on a second. I gotta wait for the plane. Then I go.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in that, to get back to the question that started this. I've been in that, like, everyone's been in that place before. I know I have. I know Dave has, where, you know, you just go, oh man, you know, how do people focus? I just can't focus on this thing, or I guess I need to get better to be able to focus on this. And it's really just like, you either don't want to do it, you're scared of doing it, or you're just like being lazy. That's really all it usually ever comes down to. And you have to be okay with just admitting that. Just being like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm being lazy. I could do this, and I'm choosing not to. But don't give yourself the write-off of being like, you know, I'm just not ready yet, or oh, I just can't focus.
Yeah.
Like, you can focus.
Yep.
It's tough, but you can do it.
You just have to put yourself in a bad place and force it.
If something seems like insurmountable and you can't focus on it, like, that's one thing that really worked for me, is reading that David Allen book, Getting Things Done, because I didn't realize why I was like so bad at, you know, actually tackling projects in like an efficient way until I read that book. And basically what it was that made sense for me is figuring out that, like, you know, any big project, like for example what we did, making a book, there's like, I don't know, 200 things you have to do to make that happen. So what you do is, instead of thinking about all 200 things at once, which is overwhelming, it takes too much, you know, mental power, and it's going to make you tired and exhausted trying to think about all of it at once. Write it all down on a piece of paper and look at it, then prioritize it in terms of what needs to happen chronologically for the next thing to happen, and then eventually you'll end up with a list of what you have to do first and what you have to do last, and then you can just cross things off the list on a schedule, and eventually the project's done. And when you think about it like that, it suddenly becomes way more possible, because then you have like daily and weekly quotas, and as long as you hit those, you know the thing will get done by a certain deadline. And like that makes it so much easier.
Yeah, you're more or less like figuring out what this mystery thing is that you're working towards. Like, how do I put this on paper and see what it actually takes to do?
It's the same way that, like, you know, you can look at a really great painting. Like, if anyone here listening does like art for a living or is trying to get into it, you can look at a great painting by an artist you like and be like, I could never do that. How do you even do that? How do you do something that detailed, that good? How do you even pull that off? How do you think of it? And like, it comes down to, you plan it, you know, you sketch it, you get the composition down, you do the line drawing in most cases, you put the flats down, you do the lighting, you do the color, the rendering, the final pass, and it's done. Like, breaking it into a series of steps makes it way more possible than just looking at the end result. And yeah, I mean, if you are having trouble doing that stuff and, you know, feeling overwhelmed, like you can't focus and stuff, big reason a lot of people can't focus. I know a big reason I thought was having trouble with focusing, was what David Allen calls these open loops, which are things that you know you have to get done, but you haven't done yet. So part of your brain is dedicating energy to thinking about that thing because you have to do it. And this could be anything from taking out the trash to cleaning your apartment to paying your taxes to getting an oil change in your car. Anything in your life that you have to do that you haven't done yet, that you know you have to do, part of your brain is being reserved to remember that thing. The more of those you can erase, the more clarity you're going to feel like you have, the more energy you're going to feel like you have during the day, because you're not going to have these things constantly bugging you. It's sort of like a swarm of bees in your head that just kind of, oh, that thing, it's like constantly buzzing. And it does make you tired. Like, it's proven that having tons of things you know you have to do that you aren't doing does, you know, sap your energy. So, you know,
Yeah, when you
take a
feel
day
yourself,
off,
when you feel yourself like remembering something, and you go, "Oh, right, that was that thing I had to do,"
write it
but you're
down.
not in the place to do it. Write
Right.
it down, because you're sitting there going like, "Oh, I'm thinking of a thing that's bothering me, and I'm not in the place to do it."
Yeah.
So it's like you need to find a way to do it.
His
Like,
advice,
remember it.
which I eventually did, is to take like 2 days off, because I guess one day isn't enough for. I can't remember what he says in the book about it not being enough, but give yourself time for your brain to just kind of think about everything. And as you think of things that you know you have to do, big and small, every possible thing that you know you have to do, whether it's a year from now or right now, write it down on a piece of paper, the same piece of paper. After those 2 days of writing all that stuff down, theoretically you should have every single thing you know you need to do documented and ready to go. And then you can prioritize it in terms of, what can I do right now, what can't I do, the stuff that I can't do, how do I get into a place where I can do it? And then you can make an action list of, okay, I can do this today, this, and eventually you won't have anything on the list. But I mean, I can say myself that it gives you way more clarity to have that stuff written down in a place where, like, you're not just carrying it in your head all the time. But yeah,
And I don't agree with any of it.
cool. There you go. Thanks for coming, everybody. And if you lose that piece of paper, make a Google document.
I like your emphasis on Google.
There you go.
Google.
Google document.
Google them.
Make a Google document.
Yeah, go on Google and make it.
Go on Google. Google.com.
Yeah, Gurgle.net.
Anyways.
Yeah, so. Yeah. When did you get Final Fantasy VI? When you were
did
a
I
kid?
get it?
Yeah, like when was the first time you played it? How old were you?
Oh, first time I played it, I was maybe like, I don't know, 8 years old, 7 or 8. I was at Brennan Crosby's house, and I was watching him play it. And I was like, what is this? Like, I had played Final Fantasy 1, so
Yeah.
like, I knew what it was, but the jump from that to this was so crazy that I was like, oh, I need this in my life.
That
But,
was like the world when video games didn't have like the same kind of ads
Yeah.
where everybody knew about them.
Well, the ad for this that I remember seeing that I loved was like, it was like an actual city, like in Tokyo or something, and then like a 3D model of her in the Magitech armor actually like shows up or something. It was something weird. It was like, remember that Zelda commercial? And
Yeah.
then the other commercial for this that I remember seeing was
The Moogle.
it was the Moogle interviewing all the monsters.
Yeah. I
That
remember
was-
that one.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, this was like one of the coolest looking games ever. I remember feeling that way. It's like, oh my god.
Yes, I'll probably do a full playthrough of this. This will probably be my like go-to for a while because I love this game, and I'd like to not talk so much about Steve eventually. Like, I'm okay talking about it now because it's going on in real time, but like once all this craziness is over with shipping the book, I'd like to actually talk about some stuff in this game. And like, I don't know, I used to draw stuff from this game all the time. This is one of those games that like made me want to get into doing art.
Yeah, I did an interview earlier today, and with the Grind, the Facebook group for art,
Okay.
and we were actually talking about that, like when I first met you, and you were doing all the Yoshitaka Amano wannabe
Yeah.
artwork.
Yeah, the I'm 15 and I want to be a mono artwork.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like my first real introduction to like anything Amano, was Dan doing his Amano stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Dan always used to do that kind of like Final Fantasy artwork style.
He used to draw people riding, you know, not Magitech armor, rip-off Magitech armor.
Mm-hmm.
Dudes with, you know, very Amano armor that doesn't make any sense flying around and stuff.
Yeah, that was like, I remember like seeing Dan's artwork and thinking like, it's detailed.
Yeah, detail equals good.
He's doing good.
Yeah, wrong.
Dan's doing it. He's got the detail.
Yeah. I used to just draw a huge, like, used to get the poster board from like CVS or whatever, and just draw huge airships.
Yep.
Because I was like obsessed with the machines and stuff in Final Fantasy games, and I just draw big airships and stuff. Make up weird ones. But yeah, that's like about the time we started hanging out. Dave was doing super great anime.
Yeah, I had all the markers and stuff.
Dave was way better at anime than me.
Yeah, I did all kinds of stuff for that.
Yeah, I have all that stuff at my parents' house, I think. Like in a closet upstairs. I could probably dig it out sometime.
Remember how fast we would run out of the peach tone, the skin tone Prismacolor markers?
Yeah, I remember we'd have to borrow each other's all the time.
Yeah, those are the good
I remember
old-
like
good old I don't know what I'm doing days.
the standard of what I thought was like made something good back then was so dumb. Like, remember that summer? I think it was like the first summer we knew each other, when I was like, I'm gonna draw a Mega Man X poster and put every enemy on it.
Yeah.
And you were like, dude, you can't do that. There's so many. And I was like, yeah, I can. Like, it's gonna be so cool because it's gonna have everything on it. Like, just not even knowing what's good.
Yeah, not understanding anything about why.
Still have that.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
I remember,
dumb.
I specifically remember Vile.
Yeah,
Vile was like the obvious Boba Fett.
so stupid. I love it though.
Yeah, those are the good old who knows days. I love that. I love thinking back to all the things that you used to do. I love thinking back to like all the old comics we used to buy and like things we'd look at, like when we both looked at what's his name? The guy who did the Punisher, like the big round puffy Punisher.
Oh, Ariel Olivetti.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd be like, whoa, that's the best. It was like the best
So
drawings
cool.
ever.
yeah,
I mean, he's a good artist, but like,
yeah. He's great.
yeah, we were like attracted to, you know, it's like when you're a kid, you don't know why you like certain stuff
Yeah,
or why it works or whatever. A lot of that happened.
yeah. I just remember the summer that Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust came out, and I went, oh, it's the greatest thing ever.
And we both just watched it.
By the way, did I tell you about the Pathfinder thing?
What specifically?
Pathfinder bought the rights to make a Vampire Hunter D tabletop Pathfinder game, and it's coming out next year. And I kind of just want to do work for it, even though they don't pay great. I kind of just want to take the hit. Like, they bought the full rights to do it. You can go on their site and look at it. They're coming out with a huge expansion in that world. It's super cool.
Vampire Hunter D was like my favorite thing forever.
Me too. I'm so excited that they're doing that.
one of the jokes in Steve is Flay talking about the Vampire Hunter D novels because we literally used to read the Vampire Hunter D novels. Like we thought that was like
I have all of them. I've got all of them in my bookshelf right behind me.
We were like, yeah, Vampire Hunter D novels. We don't read anime.
No, man.
We read
Boy,
the novels.
The novelization is so deep.
So cool.
So deep, dude.
Yeah, I remember that.
They're cool. They're kind of like,
They're not bad books. They're super pulpy.
yeah, they're just pulp. They're kind of like Conan stories or Solomon Kane stories and stuff, where like each novel's just kind of a series of cool ideas.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really cool stuff in them, like just cool ideas that I'd love to see animated or have somebody do something with. But yeah,
And we both saw Bloodlust. We both read the book based on Bloodlust. And being like, this isn't this isn't it.
yeah.
The heck?
They changed. Carmilla's not in the book.
What?
What are you talking about? You made that up. Yeah, like
And it just beat us up level.
great movie though. Yeah, it just beat us up. I remember, dude. Do you remember how many times we rewinded the scene in Bloodlust when it first came out, where the
You
guy
gotta talk about the ring.
No, the guy leaves his body as the spirit, and he's the Amano-looking dude.
Oh,
With all
yeah.
the scarves, and he floats down the valley and shoots the beams of light out. And we're like, what? This is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That stupid scene.
the greatest.
Just flying around going, oh.
Yeah, making his little orgasmic faces,
Yeah.
shooting beams of light out of his body.
John Silva asked, who's your favorite boy in FF15?
That's a great question. That sounds like a BuzzFeed quiz. There's some screaming going on outside. I'm sorry. It's my favorite boy in FF15. Well, if anyone watched our Sony press conference thing, the lowest moment in video games this year for me by far is when the redheaded one, I think his name's Prompto, turned around wearing a VR mask and was like, whoa! And then it was like this VR promo. That was the cringiest thing. Like, that made me never want to play that game. Ever. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand I do not like the Final Fantasy 15 designs. I mean, I like some of the monster stuff.
Can you call them designs? Can you call the FF15 character designs?
I mean, just by definition, yeah.
It's people.
Not by like pride.
It's people wearing modern clothing, and all the faces are the same, and they just switch the haircuts. Like, Nomura's gotten so lazy at character ideation at this point that, like, I don't even know if it qualifies as like design. It feels like you could make a program that just generates his designs now because they're so predictable. Like, oh, this one's different because he has tattoos. Oh, this one's different because the hair is red. It looks the same, but it's red. Like, I don't know. It's so boring to me.
I hate it. I hate everything about the way that they look. I hate that they just got rid of the creativity.
Yeah.
It's like I really wanted it to be more fantasy, like
There's
more
no-
imagination, like something else going on.
Well, there's a weird disconnect too, because you can tell, like, all the monsters look great, and you're like, you see the big set pieces where like Leviathan's destroying the city, and you're like, that looks so cool. And then it cuts to these characters driving in a car, and they all look the same, and you're like, this doesn't feel like the same world. Like, what? How does this fit into that? Like, it kind of breaks itself that way.
Yeah, it's like what people are saying in the chat. Hey, that well, sarcastically, hey, that clothing is from a real life designer, Dan. Jeez. Yes,
Right.
John. You're right. I mean, like, that's the thing is that
That's why I don't like it. It's Final Fantasy, not Final Actual World. Like, I don't want to see clothing from Louis Vuitton. I want to see something cool that doesn't exist.
yeah, because there's just so much stuff. Like, not that like everything has to be Final Fantasy 9, but that's like my favorite as far as design goes.
Yeah,
Like right up there, at least.
right.
But yeah, that game to me just like nails the essence of what a Final Fantasy game should be. Like, it should just be fun. It should be like, it should feel kind of free and like exciting, like some new ideas, things that
Yeah.
are just like, like you have this stylistic design, and it's things that couldn't exist. It's like a dream world almost. I love that about all the Final Fantasy games. Is there, like you look at FF6, it has like that Victorian era feel, like turn of the century kind of, like robots.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of aesthetic in a fantasy world. Like they took it and brought it into like a different light. Like they just took a bunch of elements and like melded them into some kind of new world with this really imaginative monsters and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, that's really cool. Like mechanical castles. You got like all these walking machines that run on like steam. You have all, these really imaginative characters. You got these cool monsters everywhere. All the bosses are really like unique and they're exciting. Like the summons are this awesome. Like everything about the summons is like exciting to see.
Exactly.
You go like each one of these is like, wow, like I get to, like, you want to get them all just to look at them.
But like nothing in terms of the characters in 15 and like specifically what makes me not want to play it, like, yes, a big part of it is the fact that they keep using these over the top, really anime sounding voice actors. Like, and that's really hard for me to listen to and want to play it. Like, again, I'm one of those dumb people who just would prefer if every game had text that comes out of Japan, because usually when they localize it, the voices aren't great. Like, the Kojima stuff's an exception, obviously, but for the most part, like, I don't want to hear the main character. Like, I showed Dave the demo when Ramu shows up, and it's this big spectacle with Ramu, and you're like, wow, that looks so cool. And then at the end of it, the character kneels down, and he does the whole, like, I can tell now why the legends are spoken. And you're like, I feel like a loser.
Yeah, please.
I don't want to watch this. I feel like a fucking loser for watching this now. Like, that was the worst voice acting, the cringiest voice acting ever. But that's the thing, is just like, in terms of just the designs themselves, that aside, there's nothing in that game where I look at the character and I go, I can't wait to find that person and get them on my team. That all these older Final Fantasies had. Like, I saw drawings of Go-Go before I found him in this game, and I was like, how do I get that guy? He looks so cool. Like, or when FF7 came out and you'd see the promo stuff and you're like, whoa, Kate Sith, what's that? When's that guy gonna show up? Like, or like Vincent. You could go through all of FF7 and never find Vincent. Optional character. But like, you see pictures of him and you're like, whoa, that guy's so cool, how do I get him? None of the characters in the new ones have that. There's no secret characters because the budgets are too high to put secret characters in now. They can't model that many things and have it be a thing you can miss. So they don't do it. But like, none of them stand out. None of them are like, oh, that's so different. I wonder what that guy is, In this game, you can get a Sasquatch on your team. Like, like there's nothing creative about the characters anymore. There's nothing different about them.
That was all my favorite stuff when I was a kid in all those games, was like the different kinds of characters you could get and like the amount of creativity that went into them. Like, I don't know, like there has to be some kind of carrot, like something in front of you that's making you want to move forward, and it never was the story for me in those games. Like, this, it's okay, like like when you're a kid and you're playing through it, you're like, yeah, whatever, like, save the world again. Who cares? Big bad guy, multiple forms, sure. Like, I don't care. I just want to play it because there's cool stuff in it. There's summons, there's cool spells, animations. You get to watch these awesome cutscenes. You get to get different characters on your team that have these really cool looks to them. You get, like Vandal Hearts 2, like, and you're playing that, and you get the different armor upgrades. Like, I played for the armor upgrades. I don't care about anything else. I want to see what the characters look like when they get this. And it's like that kind of stuff I miss so much. I miss it. Like, that was why I played so many games. Like, when you think about the different levels that are in Shining Force 2, like when you upgrade your characters and you get to see him for the first time in the battle animation, and you go like, wow, that's what he looks like? That's awesome. Or that's what that character turns into? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of stuff is what I long for. Like, Pokemon really is like the only one I can think of that hasn't moved away from that.
Right.
Like Pokemon is like, oh, we do this, the end. Like this is what we do
Yeah.
forever.
This is the game.
We're not going to spoil this formula. We're just going to improve upon it. And like I get that that can get tired really fast, but you don't need to play every single game. I don't watch every single episode of a TV show. Like if there's like a specific kind of thing, like I'm not going to watch Conan O'Brien every night.
Yeah.
It's like I'll watch something
That's
else. I'm not going to
weird-
just like
The weird thing I don't get is that so many franchises are moving to the middle now, and I'm like, why is everybody doing that? So many things are moving to the middle in terms of their design. Like, we're going to do open world, and everything's going to be customizable, and you can choose where you're going to go and make your own adventure. And it's like, why can't there be different kinds of stuff? I don't want to play like Skyrim versions of all these different franchises. Like it feels like lazy design to me. When I see a series of big huge open fields in like FF15 again, since we're talking about it, that doesn't feel cool to me. That's not something I want to go do. I want a world map. I want to fly around in an airship. Like I don't want to walk through a big empty field and see monsters walking around and choose to fight them and stuff. Like, it doesn't feel as cool. It feels very big and very empty. And it just feels like big for bigness' sake, like that's somehow impressive. In the same way we were talking about earlier, to connect it back, when we were younger, we thought the more detailed artwork was, it meant automatically that it was better. It feels like that same thing's happening in games now, where like, the world is big, therefore it is impressive. Look how big and impressive it is. Of course it's impressive, because it's big. And it's like, no, it doesn't make it good, that just makes it a huge, boring thing. Like, if there's something fun there and you can justify the bigness and the openness, then sure, but like, nothing about flying a car, like driving a car through an empty field and having it take off into the air, and not being able to fly over mountains and hitting invisible walls, none of that sounds fun to me. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, if anyone played Final Fantasy 13, was it fun when the game opened up in that one area that was a big open field where there were just monsters walking around? Was that fun? Did you have a good time there? Because that's what this entire game is going to be. A series of big open places like that. And like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean it's like you should innovate on stuff, but in a real way. Like don't be everything else.
Yeah.
Like it feels really insecure to like go and get on a train with everything else that's doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Like when every game becomes like homogenized and they're all the same kind of experience, like just have there be different genres. It's like when the survival horror games became action games. It's like, well, Resident Evil just completely abandoned being like its own thing. Like it had its niche thing. Like it was in a genre that it created. And everybody loved that. And it's like, instead of innovating on top of that, they were like, well, people like action games, so let's make it an action game instead. And it just feels insecure. It's like, so you're going to take the game that defined you and turn it into every other game. And it's the same thing with the Final Fantasy games. It's like not that it isn't going to be fun, like
Right.
the mechanics of it, I'm sure it'll be fun, but I'm saying that it's more or less like a lot of other games where you have the same kind of experience. It's like playing, like Dan was saying, Skyrim and all those other kind of open world games are generally the same. And then
yeah. Like the perfect example of this, the perfect example of why it sucks, is Metal Gear Solid 5. The mechanics in that game in terms of fighting stuff and stealthing around are so good. Like, all of the mission stuff feels amazing. Finding people, using items, hiding, collecting people and bringing them back to your base feels so good.
Tapes.
The tapes, all that stuff is just great. Building the weapons, like developing stuff, R&D, all that stuff's amazing. But for no reason other than to go, look how big and impressive this is because it's big, you have a giant, completely empty MMO-style map with like plants you can collect and animals you can shoot, and that's it. And every time you drop in to go to a mission, you have like a 3 to 5 minute cutscene of boss, this is what's happening. Here's the helicopter flying. The helicopter's still flying. The helicopter's landing. Hop out. Helicopter takes off, flies away. And it's like, if you just gave me something like Metal Gear Solid 1 where I could just do the best parts of that, the missions back to back to back to back without the meaningless filler of nothing happening, you know, like running across the map as fast as I can to get somewhere. Like, I found myself in that game, and I'm sure other people did, manually going from place to place and choosing to take 15 minutes to do it with nothing happening in those 15 minutes. Just, I'm going to run from point A to point B because I don't want to watch the loading screen of getting in and out of the helicopter twice. And it's just bad design. There's no reason to have a huge empty world like that in that game. It does nothing. Aside from the couple missions where you chase down trucks, there's no reason to have it. And it does nothing for the Metal Gear formula. There's no reason for it to be there than to just go, look how big and empty this is. Isn't it impressive how big this map is? And like, so many games are doing that. I do not get it.
And somebody just brought up Dark Souls, which I like because Dark Souls does it for effect.
Dark Souls isn't open. It's not open world though.
No, but the reason that like parts are empty is because it creates that like discomfort where you're like, something's going to happen, and then like the boss fights and the encounters feel like an exclamation point. Like they feel like boom, like this thing is suddenly happening.
Right.
It stands out.
But never in Dark Souls are you in a massive empty field with nothing where you have to just run through it to get to the next place. That never happens. Every single area in that game is so meticulously designed. Things are placed in certain spots because they're anticipating how you're going to play it. Things are put in camera view, so when you turn around a corner, you see it automatically and you react to it. Everything is so planned out in From Software games. Like, they're not really open. They're just kind of like, yeah, you can go multiple routes and stuff, but everything is so planned out. There's not just big open spaces of nothing.
Dinosaur asked if you think Red Dead was a victim of this. No, I think Red Dead did it really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like Red Dead's world, it felt like everywhere you went, there was like something.
Well, that's the thing, is that Red Dead did a thing that Final Fantasy is not doing. It's the same thing that GTA did, obviously, because Red Dead is basically, you know, Western GTA, where it's a living world. It's not just a big empty field and occasionally you fight monsters in it that you see. There's like, you know, random things in the AI where, oh, a stagecoach is being robbed and you just happen to witness it. You can do something, or, oh, there's that guy with a bounty on his head, or, oh, someone's on the side of the road asking for help. Like, so many things that game's designed to make the act of going across a huge empty space entertaining.
Yeah,
Like,
and more or less what we're saying is that like, even though like if Final Fantasy 15 does that, like I'm sure it could work, but it's Final Fantasy, you know?
It's
and it's
already,
like it's being something else.
It's already been confirmed that it's not going to do that. That's why there's going to be like, you know, you go to the gas station and someone says like, oh, there's a monster around here who's causing trouble, can you go kill it? And that's going to be like the extent of quests that happen. Because the thing about 15 that everyone kind of just ignores, this is the other weird thing to me, is that 15 has been 3 different games before it's the game that's coming out this year. Originally it was a single player Devil May Cry style, like hack and slash, with the main character. It was just going to be a spin-off of 13. And then they put so much money into that, combined with how bad 13 bombed, that they said, okay, we don't have enough money to make another mainline Final Fantasy. We have to turn Versus 13 into 15 because we can't take another hit. So then they started rebuilding it from the ground up to become a Final Fantasy main title game. And it's like, it's gonna be a mess. Like, how is it not a mess? It's gonna be like a crazy mess. But yeah, that game is like 12 years old. Like, they were showing footage of that a long time ago.
And then they had that thing that kind of like aha, but it was too late, where they made Bravely Default and everybody loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Like, we made Bravely Default. It's like, that's, oh no, people just want an innovation on our platform.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And that's the crazy, like, you know, I've brought this up on the stream before, but like, not to just nerd out, but we both grew up loving Final Fantasy, so I'm not excited to play an FF7 remake where I don't get to fly an airship around a world map. Like, that's such a huge part of the feeling of that game and the vibe of it. Like,
Yeah, I
I don't
wasn't
want to
like,
go through zones. I'm
but
not
the
into
thing with that
zones.
game is that it's, I mean, this is all speculation, of course. Like, who knows? Neither of
Yeah.
us have played it. But if it is what I think it is, then I don't want to play the game where you just play the story. It's like I don't care about that part of Final Fantasy games really. Like it's there and it's kind of like window dressing stuff. Like it
Yeah.
just happens and it's the thing that moves it forward. But for me, that like Final Fantasy games for me have always been about discovery. Like they've always been about like exploring a world and getting like the little stuff and you know like you go and you fight the weapons and all that kind of shit. Like there's different things that happen in
Yeah.
the context of the story, but they're not like, you know, it's not like you either do this or you don't. Like I mean you either do this or like the story won't move on. Like I don't want to play a game where you're not in control
Well,
of the experience.
they took what gave 7 such a huge impact and they flipped it, because in the original release of 7, the cinematics were there to emphasize beats in the story that were the most important beats. Like, oh, the weapons woke up. Here's a cinematic because this needs to have gravitas. This is like a huge beat in the story. Or like, you know, something crazy would happen and then it would cut to a cinematic and, you know, you're like a 10-year-old kid and you lean forward in your seat and you're like, oh, cinematic. Like, because they were so rare back then. And that's what made the parts of the story that were the most meaningful, that you were supposed to be most into, stand out and be impressive. Is like, oh, like they're gonna fire the cannon at the weapon in the water and like it cuts to that crazy movie. But then they flipped it now where the story exists to serve the cinematics, because now they're going to write the script for the new one around the things where they can just make these huge extended cinematic scenes. And that's the wrong way to do it. The story should come first, and then the cinematic should serve it. You shouldn't come into it going, I can't wait to do this scene. Let's write the story around it so it works better. Like, it's just going to be a bunch of that. And it's not going to make any sense. Like, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get too overly negative about it. It's just, I can't believe how, like, they don't even get what makes their own IP popular.
Yeah, I mean it's more like the shock factor of like, wow, look at they made it look real. Like it's real.
I'd rather have it
Yes.
look less real than it looks and be a more faithful adaptation than have it look super good and be extremely linear.
I mean, that's the really hard balancing act with taking on existing IPs that are like one specific thing and then changing them. Like, look what happens when, you know, like they try and make the Ninja Turtles movie, like what people talk about with their designs and all that stuff. Like, it's so hard to adapt things that have such a huge fan base and have them be like, I don't know, accepted. Like if they didn't call that game Final Fantasy 7, like they'd be like, and they just had, you know, like Final Fantasy 15, like if it's just that, you know what I mean, in that kind of style, and they just didn't call it 7, like there'd be nothing to complain about. You just call it a different game. It's like when Dirge of Cerberus came out, it was like, all right, yeah, like you're telling me right now that it's not going to be, you know, this turn-based game. Like I see it. It's like a whole different world. It's not like a mainline Final Fantasy number. And so you don't have that expectation. So like, how are you going to get super disappointed? Like, I don't really know. I mean, I'm sure there's people who totally hate that game, like to a huge extent, but
Right.
like, you're not going to be so, you know, holy about it because it's not a number. Like
Right.
people don't look at like the Final Fantasy fighting game and go like, oh, that's the worst Final Fantasy ever. Like that just
Exactly.
doesn't happen.
Right.
It's just such a risk to introduce new systems like that and then have the potential for them to not be like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, plus
amazing.
I've got no faith in Nomura at all, because like, if anyone played like, you know, Dirge of Cerberus or like watched Advent Children, like Nomura is just the worst. Like I hate saying it because I know people are like fans of the guy, but he's like an inflated 13-year-old. Like I don't know, like everything he does is so bad. It's just like, oh, now they're gonna go under the city and fight Goku, and he's gonna shoot lightning, and it's like, you took this thing that was cool and you fucking ruined it, dude. Like, stop using Nomura, please. He's the human equivalent of a tribal tattoo. That's all he is. He's a tribal tattoo made flesh. He has no idea what's good. He just tries to make things look cool.
Like
It's
cool
just-
in a specifically Japanese sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, let's give this guy like really stylish sunglasses. Like when I saw the classic character design of Barrett in that FF7 video and all they did was give him blade sunglasses, I was like, you fucking idiot. You fucking moron. Like, you don't know anything about what you're doing, do you? Like, that's his version of like, it's the modern idea, that character. Like, no. It looks so stupid.
Yeah, it looks like really old.
Let's not update anyone else. Let's just give Barrett sunglasses.
Yeah, the word badass is the worst word in the English language
It's so dumb.
for creation.
Yeah.
Whenever any art director my whole life, like
Make him
in the past
badass.
10 years has said, hey, can you just make this character a little more badass? You just go, ah,
Exactly.
no.
Yeah, I like that in the chat. Human Shadow the Hedgehog. Yep.
But really, badass has always been my like bane of existence. Whenever anybody says, "Can you make it badass?" I go like, "I don't know how." Like just saying badass means it's not going to be cool.
Yeah.
like
You
like
you
just
took it
just
around
you
it.
saying that, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
so I know you don't know what cool is. Like
I like how
that's what you're
people.
telling me.
That was the thing, like, after The Matrix came out, people didn't understand that The Matrix got away with it at the end because the story and how good everything was let it have a pass.
Mm-hmm.
But then the
It
sequels
wasn't
come out.
actually. It
Yeah,
wasn't
there's
cool
nothing-
to wear a trench coat.
There's nothing badass about a guy wearing a trench coat with sunglasses doing karate. There's nothing. I want to overemphasize this for anyone who still thinks that's badass. There is nothing badass about that. What you thought was badass when you saw The Matrix was the payoff in the story and the character arc and the way it was written. Then The Matrix 2 comes along and, oh, you know, that was popular in the first one. Let's give everybody trench coats and everybody sunglasses and let's do 100 Agent Smiths, and it's like just upping the ante, upping the badass quotient to such a degree that it breaks under its own badassery and collapses like a dying star.
I thought it was badass.
Badass.
Yeah, that was a lame time when everything became the Matrix, when X-Men was the Matrix. Everything was leather jackets.
Yeah, X-Men, another victim of badass.
Another victim of literally just
Mm-hmm.
the Matrix. Like,
Yep.
the Matrix was like, hey, you know what's cool? Leather. Everything leather.
Everything
Alright.
leather.
Cool. Let's do that.
Well, there's nothing
Yeah.
badass. Someone brought up a certain video where I turn into a trash can wearing a trench coat.
That's pretty badass.
It's not badass when I wore a trench coat because I wore a trench coat because I was fat. And when you're 13 and you're fat and, like, you know, you go through puberty earlier than your friends and you're like a weirdly proportioned hairy guy, the solution is let's cover up my body with a piece of clothing that covers up my whole body. And that's usually some kind of coat or sweater. So that's why that happened.
And also, you're allowed to be lame when you're young.
Yeah, that's not me thinking trench coats look cool. That's me going, how do I make it so no one can see how disgusting I am? That's
How
all
do I
that
make
is.
it so no one can see me?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Literally. How do I hide under the most
It's
fabric?
when you see a fat guy wearing a trench cloak. What I was about to
That
say.
has to be a thing.
No. What I was
Trench cloak.
the reason I said that is because what I was gonna say is when you see a fat guy wearing a trench coat, that's the closest in real life you ever get to a cloak of invisibility.
Yeah.
It's a fat person wearing a trench coat going, "Don't look at me, don't see me. See the trench coat, not what's underneath it." It's like an illusion.
Yeah.
Trench cloak. Use that.
My trench cloak of invisibility.
Trench cloak of invisibility, yeah. trench cloak. Found some gold there.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
This is where Locke, sneaking through the Imperial-occupied city, discovers Celis, the Magitech Knight, who has gone against her commander's orders and is
Are you
being
kidding?
tortured in a...
It's cool. It's cool. It's very cool.
So anyway, now that we've talked about all of that, if I missed any questions, I'm sorry. Just repost them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. We got carried away talking about nerdy stuff.
We could talk about nerdy stuff for like 1,000 years.
1,000 years, yeah. I'll talk about FF7 for a week.
It's just what happens when you talk about it. Talk about trench coats, RPGs.
What is Discord? I've heard so many people bring up Discord. What is it?
What?
What's Discord? So many people in the past few streams we've done have said you guys need to make a Discord.
Oh, I thought you didn't know what the word meant.
No, it's some kind of it's some kind of app or like program. Like, what is Discord? What does it do? I know it's something like Skype, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because every time I say the connection's bad, people go, "You guys should use Discord." So like, can someone in the chat tag me and explain what Discord is? Because we're both like pretty much 30 now, and we're too old to know what cool stuff is. Anything
Yeah,
new,
weird.
we're past it now.
Yeah, things have moved on.
We
the
need
world.
young people to explain them to us now. We're officially too old.
Huh? Okay.
I have not watched Harmon Quest. I don't know what that is.
Discord is a community.
Discord is like TeamSpeak. All I know about TeamSpeak is it was that like pretty much what Google Hangouts is now for like World of Warcraft. So what's the point of having that? Someone tell
Alright.
me why we need one. What does it give us that we don't currently have? What's the sell?
All-in-one voice and text chat for gamers that's free, secure, and works on both your desktop and phone. Stop paying for TeamSpeak servers and hassling with Skype. Simplify your life.
What does it give us that Skype doesn't give us? I still don't understand.
Let me go over to the features, brah.
Alright.
IP and DDoS protection, browser support, mobile app, friends list, in-game overlay, codecs, low latency, minimal CPU usage. Oh, this sounds pretty good.
Alright.
I'm gonna get this. Oh, great. Thanks for the suggestion. I didn't know what this was. It seems pretty great.
Oh, it's what they use for people to play D&D in like groups. Okay, that makes yeah. Okay, I've heard of that.
No, we agree. Skype is not
Trash.
great.
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse.
How wet are you right now?
I mean, in general,
Yeah.
I'm pretty wet because like it's 90 degrees. I had to shut off my AC to do the stream, or else you'd be hearing like a crazy loud fan in the background. So I've got like a film. I've got that thick sweat where it's kind of like saran
Frog.
wrap.
Frog
Yeah,
sweat.
Exactly, frog sweat. It's like a thin layer of saran wrap all over my whole body.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty great. But yeah, definitely sticky. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I did that interview earlier and I
Yeah.
stood up and my butt was all wet.
That's what happens, man.
And I went, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Why being interviewed specifically? Why does that make my butt wet? Because I can sit down and work for a while and not get wet bottom.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
if I'm talking or something or like engaged, I don't know if my hormones go nuts and my butt crack or something, but
Maybe.
like something bad happens and I get soaked.
Do you like clench your butt at all when you're talking to people you don't know?
No, I don't. Dude, I'm pretty loose.
Okay. Well, that's my only theory. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I sit there loose and I just am wet. I don't know what it is.
Well, Dave's loose and wet. I'm just regular wet. Yeah. I don't know, man. I wish I could help you.
I'm just trying to explain it.
What do you do? Do you wipe it down? You try it out?
Maybe the adrenaline kicks in when I start talking about all this stuff.
But it's not happening now.
No, it isn't because I'm Cash.
Cash, right?
I think if you engaged me, I'd
Okay.
get wet.
How do I engage you?
I don't know. Ask me like some...
Dave, can you tell me about when you really started taking art seriously? What was the moment where the paradigm in your brain shifted and you said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do this even if people don't believe in me.
Well, it was kind of like a turning point in my life. One thing after another kind
Observe
of
the witness.
situation. Huh?
Observe the witness as you talk.
It was a delicate balance between my personal life and the life that I wanted for myself. And I had to say goodbye to one of those things because they go, couldn't coexist.
Bodo, godo.
You fight Rottweilers in there?
Yeah, some Rottweilers. Vector pups.
Vector pups.
Yeah.
The fuck?
You know, war dogs from the city of Vector, Imperial capital.
What? Dude, you know lore.
I do know lore. I know all the lore about this game. Ask me. Ask me any of it.
Okay, what's your favorite city?
In this game?
Yeah.
Definitely the world of the Espers. You don't get to go to it, but you see it in cutscenes. You know, like there's that skull door that the Emperor breaks through and it sucks all the Espers out. And it's like the fantasy world where they all live.
You're making me tired.
Sucking the life out of you?
I said city.
Yeah, you did.
So,
Other than that, probably Figaro, the castle that sinks under the sands. Pretty great.
yeah, that's cool.
Unless
I
you
like
count
the
this-
ice place.
Unless you count the sunken city, where you find Odin, and then upgrade it into Raiden.
What?
Know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine.
Sure.
You can let this go. That it? That the only lore you want to know about?
Who is Gao's real mother?
Who is Gao's real mother?
Yeah.
They don't tell you.
Yeah, but if you had to guess.
If I had to guess,
Yeah, like if
none
I
of
had
the
a gun.
none of
to
the
your
none of
head.
the characters in the game.
What?
None of the characters in the game are Gao's mom.
So who is it?
I don't know, some lady.
What is Go-Go?
What is Go-Go? He's
Yeah.
a mimic. He's a mime who lives in the simulacrum. That's what he calls it. I don't know why he calls it that. But you get sucked into a worm in an island in the world of ruin, and Go-Go's living inside the worm, and he calls it a simulacrum. A lot of people think it's Emperor Gestal. I don't think it is. I don't subscribe to that.
Well,
Some people
since-
think it's the same Go-Go scene in Final Fantasy V when you go inside the Sunken Tower of Waltz to get the last piece of job, materia, magicite, crystal. Hello.
Synth Fetish is asking these questions, by the way.
Hyacinth Fetish.
Zach Beef asks, why is Shadow simultaneously the coolest and most unreliable character in the game?
Because he has abandonment issues. If you played the game like a true elite, 100%, gamer like me, you'd know that Shadow's actually Realm's dad, and he abandoned his family because he was a criminal, and he was a train robber. And that's why he has abandonment issues, is because he feels guilty for abandoning his family. Keep going. Got no shame, I'm 30 now. Let's do it.
Level 30? Okay.
Oh boy.
Where does Ultros, how many times does Ultros appear
Appear?
in the games?
I mean, technically
All of
infinite.
them.
Technically infinite because you can go in and out of the Colosseum multiple times. Like, is that what you're asking?
No.
What are you asking?
In all of the franchise.
How many games does he appear in?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a specific question. He probably shows up in all of their mobile games, like all the Bravest and all that trash that I've never played. I'm sure he's probably one of the characters they put in everything now.
Zach Beef wants to know, why can't Edgar get girls?
Why can't Edgar get girls?
Yeah.
Edgar can't get girls because he's a womanizer. He's the same typical Japanese character of like, he thinks he's like a playboy, but he's not. That's in like everything. It's like Brock from Pokemon. There you go.
Interesting. How do you get Peshmerga in Suikoden 2?
How do you get Persmerga in Suikoden 2?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
You get a level 4 castle and you go back to the Cave of the Winds where you find the Star Dragon Sword.
Cool. What's the last boss of Star Ocean 2?
Oh, I have no idea, actually. I have no clue. Have you beaten that?
Yeah.
What's the last boss of Star Ocean 2? Is it
I don't remember.
What's his name, like Duos or something? The guy with the white hair who's not Sephiroth?
I used to play all those games. I used to play, what's that game? The, like, Tales of whatever. The, like, Tales of Destiny 2. Is that the PlayStation one? Like, all those games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I beat that one, too. I don't remember anything about it. Just beat it. Did you beat the Lunar games, like both of them?
Yeah.
Those games are so hard
Yeah, they were.
in like the most boring way possible.
Yeah, they weren't. The last battles were not, like, cool. They were just... The weirdest thing about the Lunar games was how the music was kind of muted. Like, they tried to make really cool music, but it was like... Like, weirdly quiet and, like, not... I don't know, the quality wasn't there for some reason.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like just bad. Like just like a shitty, I don't know, it felt like it came from directly from like Sega Saturn.
Right.
And they just didn't change anything. They were just like, yeah, it sucks, so let's just leave it.
Someone asked if we played Chrono Cross. Dave played a ton of Chrono Cross. I didn't, I never beat it. Dave definitely beat it.
Yeah, I beat it. I don't know, what's the question? Just that we played it?
Yeah, we played Chrono Cross.
Yeah, I beat that game like multiple times because you get the new game plus. I really like that game. I've tried to play it again, but I don't know. I guess I'd have to try. I have it on the Vita, and that was like I was playing it on trips.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's kind of boring. I don't know what it was about the initial one. I think it's just because you can get so many characters. I was just like really into that.
Super cool.
Yeah, and all the little like story things you got to do to get the characters. And that was like my favorite thing about a lot of the PlayStation era games that had that kind of that specific RPG element where you collect characters, like tons of them, and all the optional ones. I was really into that whenever a game had that option.
Always great. That was always the weird thing, like, remember when like Lufia 2 came out, and it's like you're playing as the people from the prequel in Lufia 1? Like those games where they're like, now you get to play as the characters we talked about in the first one. Like, such specific feelings of being 8 and seeing that.
The other, one of my favorite games for just music alone, somebody asked what our favorite soundtracks were from games or movies.
Oh,
One
this
of-
game for sure.
Yeah, definitely Final Fantasy VI, but
Yeah.
another one was Breath of Fire 2. I always go back to that just for the music. And then,
Fire gets like no attention.
yeah, it's not like, I mean, it's Breath of Fire 2 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Breath of Fire 1 is like just a grind. Like the whole game is a grind.
I loved 4.
Yeah, when the animation started getting crazy in the PlayStation games, that's when it like went up a notch. I was like, oh, this is crazy. But I never beat those ones, I don't think. I might have beat one of them.
Capcom like let it die. I think we both beat the one with the guy with the white hair, right? 4.
Yeah, with the robot, dude.
Yeah, because I remember
With
you were
Jeff
like,
Bot.
you have to play this, and that's how I found out about it.
It's because the sprite animations are insane.
Super
it just
good.
was like the most beautiful looking game. If you guys haven't seen it, look up Breath of Fire 4, I think. The one with the guy with the white hair and like he fights the dinosaur in the beginning. It's really
Yeah, I love the Bloodborne soundtrack, Antoine. It's amazing. The fight with Ludwig, where like the orchestra kicks in halfway through, that was the greatest feeling. Like planning the soundtrack for the fight, where the music changes with the boss, was like the coolest part of that game. I love everything about Bloodborne. We get another FF7 question from Synth Fetish. Oh boy.
Yeah, what is it?
In FF7, does Cloud actually believe he is Zack, or is he just living to cover his insecurity? At what point, or lying, I think, to cover his insecurity, at what point did he go from fraud to awesome? Well, oh god, here we go. That's where I dive into it.
The Zack thing was later.
No,
I don't like the Zack thing.
no, the Zack thing wasn't later, it was in the game.
What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of...
I'm thinking of the extra explanation stuff.
You're thinking of Crisis Core, when they took the thing that was in 7 and made it into like a cooler anime thing, what they thought was cool, and it was super lame.
Yeah, I hated that.
In FF7, not Crisis Core, Cloud actually thought he was Zack because the two of them were put inside Mako chambers and they were injected with Genova cells. And what happens with Genova cells because of the reunion is everybody that shares them thinks that they're kind of each other. Everybody thinks they're part of Sephiroth. That's why everybody goes to the Northern Crater, so they can rejoin each other and become a perfect being. They stole that idea from like a bunch of different stuff. Like Genova's basically the alien from The Thing. Like, you know, it can imitate anything and shapeshift into anything, and all of its different parts want to come back together and make a whole. But, yeah, that's why he thought he was Zack. Wish I didn't know these things. Wish I didn't know.
People are like, why is Steve Lichman so specific with its nerdy stuff? There you go.
Maybe because this is how me and Dave became friends. Might be why.
Yeah. I am in the zone trying to find this shit. Ugh. I wish I could tell you what I'm working on.
Yeah.
But it's
okay,
a
man.
secret. It's a secret for some people. Some beautiful people.
It's okay that we're nerds. It's fine. I'm fine with it. Everything's fine.
Oh.
Remember in FF10 when Bahamut was a little boy with a hoodie? Remember how cool that was?
FF10 was my like.
Thanks. That's when I started checking out of the series.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah, that's when I was like, oh, maybe this isn't cool, and I was wrong the whole time. That's the first time I wasn't sure if I was just getting older or not. When I was like, oh, this is lame. Am I getting older? Is this not? Is this like? Was it actually kid stuff? No. Just
I mean,
a bad game.
really, all it was for me was that they introduced voice acting, and that switched me off. That was it.
I think I would have actually been okay with the game having voice acting if the main character wasn't Tidus. If it wasn't a guy with half pants who had like a really bad anime voice, I think I maybe would have been okay with it. But
There are a few other ones in here. Pervaholic asks, can you beat Contra without the Konami code? I almost beat Contra in the arcade
yeah,
not that long ago. I was almost so proud. That game's so freaking hard.
good Shadow.
What were the other questions? Let me look up. Sunny Boy 123 asks, in which game universe would you like to be living in?
Living in?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a weird question because then it's not like which one do we think is coolest. It's which one do we want to live in. Geez, I don't know.
Let me think for a second. Probably the world of Glover.
It's a good answer. Probably the world of Bomberman 64 because the music is good. You can just chill out and listen to that green card music all day.
I wouldn't want to live there, but I kind of would want to live there in Bloodborne just to look at stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that's the coolest one I can think of, like visually, but I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah, if everybody was dead, I'd want to live in Bloodborne just to look around.
I'd maybe want to live on the island for Mega Man Legends, because like it's nice and chill. You can go down in some ruins, find some robot parts.
That's true.
Like, I don't know.
Dinosaur asks, "Are you guys excited for The Last Guardian?"
I'm very excited. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
super
really hope
excited.
it's good. Yeah,
I mean, obviously everybody's been waiting for this forever.
maybe the world of Monster Rancher too.
I can answer this one, Synth Fetish. Yes and no, depending who you are.
Is FF15 going to be terrible? Yeah.
Depending
it's-
on
See, this
what
is the
you like.
thing. This is franchise blindness. It's going to be the same thing that happened with Final Fantasy 13, where when it comes out, everybody goes whoa, and they give it like 7s and 8s and 9s, and then 3 years later, everyone's going to go, oh, that game really kind of sucked. Like it's the hype blindness thing. The people that have been excited about it for 10 years, because that's the thing to keep in mind is it's been in development for 10 years. The people that have changed their profile pictures to Noctis and stuff like that, who are already in, who already have pre-screening tickets to see Kingsglaive, they're gonna give it a 10 no matter what because they have to. They've made it a part of their life. But objectively, it's probably gonna be like a 6. It's just gonna be a big, bland thing with really good cinematics, and that's about it.
Drive-by uppercut ass. It's a pretty good name. What kind of studies or methods assisted in leveling up your rendering skills in digital painting? As soon as I started thinking about things in terms of like how you would see it with your own eyes, that's when things started to kind of change for me in terms of the illustrations.
Doing apples and spoons.
Yeah, well, studies in front of me was like a big deal, but also how you think about something when you're doing it. So like it's not just that you're focusing on a study in front of you and like losing edges and stuff. It was more or less that you want to take that same principle and bring it over into your illustrations in order to make those look more realistic. That was like one of the things that helped me a ton, is having a certain focus. Like I was saying this in the interview thing earlier today about how, like, let's say you're watching a fight, you're not going to, like if two people are beating the shit out of each other and you're watching this and it's moving fast, right? And this is like something you might want to paint later, some kind of fight in an illustration. Like if you're doing something for like Magic the Gathering, you're doing an action shot. So like you wouldn't, in watching that fight, go, after the fight, be walking with your friend who also saw it and go, hey man, that was a good fight, but did you see those blades of grass in the corner? That was super real. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? I was watching the fight the whole time.
Right.
It's like you don't want to render things that aren't important to what's happening, because that means that you're focused on them. When, like literally when you're rendering something too much, it means that you're saying like, the more you render something, the more it's like your eye coming into focus on something. So think about it like that. So the crisper it is, it means you're staring right at it. The more blurry it is means that it's kind of in your peripheral, because that's how we see things. Or maybe you're just turning to look at it, or you're just coming out of a cave into the light or something. Like there's all different ways that you can use that principle. But yeah, if you're trying to paint realistically, think about things in terms of like how you would see it as a human being, what you would notice, things that would draw your attention, and paint those things. Or things that you want to draw attention to, you paint those things. So that's how I kind of worked up my paintings to, a level where like I felt like they were becoming more real and focused. That was a major turning point for me. And also thinking of things as if they were like sculptures, 3D objects, and how you wrap forms. Like if you look at like old master drawings, how they have a lot of curvature in their lines, and they do like cross hatching and things like that to like warp around the forms to further show that depth in the piece. That's how I kind of started to think about painting with my brush strokes. It was like wrapping forms as they're coming towards us, or floating in space. But yeah.
Yeah, I love looking for all the different ways people use opposites and stuff to sell stuff. Like I was watching Howl's Moving Castle the other day, and just like the backgrounds are so detailed, but they do the thing where there's no crisp lines and there's no sharp anything. There's no like high contrast values next to each other. Like super detailed backgrounds, but they pull it off in a way where the animated stuff on top, because it has crisp black lines and the colors are way more vibrant, like they just launch off the backgrounds. in such
Yeah.
like a satisfying way. Like, I don't know, I love that stuff. I love how people find ways to make that, all those different kinds of opposites work to sell stuff.
Yeah, it's why when you look at somebody like I just found my copy of Alla Prima again, the Richard Schmid book, and I've been just reading through it. And if you look at his stuff, I mean, I would just Google him if you don't know who he is. Richard Schmid. He's a realist painter, and you look at his paintings, they feel more real. I mean, in my opinion, they feel more real than photographs, but they're very loose. But it's, you know, the way that he paints and uses his brushstrokes, it's like they're there to imply things. And the
Right.
things that do have some kind of definition or harder edges and things, that's where you're supposed to look into the pieces. But as long as the values read, the colors, you know, they feel real, he has that mood there, it's like you give an illusion of reality, and it doesn't need to be perfectly defined everywhere.
Yep.
He's just one of my favorite realist painters, and his book is great.
Dinosaur asks, do you think a classic RPG like this made nowadays with updated cool art would survive indie game goals? I don't even think the updated artwork is necessary. I mean, if you look at something like Undertale, like, it's fucking huge right now. It's everywhere. Everybody loves that game. And that's just got, like, you know, really, really early, like, between NES and SNES artwork aesthetic. Like, it's less about how flashy the art or how good the graphics is now, and it's more about, are the mechanics good, is the story good, is the game well, you know, designed from a gameplay standpoint, not designed from an art standpoint. But yeah, I mean, obviously art helps sell a thing, clearly, you know, we both do that for a living, we both understand the importance of it, but the big thing is you know, is the game good? Have you designed it in a way that it makes sense? Because there's, I mean, I know there's more I'm not thinking of, like Shovel Knight. Just, you know, it's like, looks like a Mega Man game from the NES. The artwork isn't like mind-blowingly super rendered or anything. Like, you know, they very much just made it look like the old Capcom art, and it's beautiful. Like, everything about that game is beautiful and fits, and it's, you know, hugely successful. So yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of like, because there's a weird cutoff where the amount of effort it takes to make a game like Undertale in terms of making the assets, like actually doing the pixel art, there's a huge leap from doing something that looks like regular Nintendo and doing something that looks like this. And I think a lot of people are waiting for somebody to kind of start making new Super Nintendo games, because they're not really happening yet. A couple people are trying.
Takes a pretty high level of skill.
It takes a long time to make something like this with all the assets, because it's so much more detailed than like an 8-bit thing. But yeah, I think if something like this came out today that had, you know, if it's an RPG, you're looking at the battle mechanics and the story are the two things that are going to make it good. And then I think the artwork could look pretty much the same as it does in this game, and it would be huge.
Goodbye, John Silva, beautiful human being.
If anyone's checking in with the story of where we are in Final Fantasy VI right now, this is when Kefka, one of the 3 Magitech Knight generals of the Empire, commits genocide against the Kingdom of Doma. Probably the first genocide in video games.
Let me just say this. Tio, can you resubmit your question? Because I don't know where it is in the chat.
Going by too quick.
I don't know which one do you answer before. Okay, Surendus asks, what console's this game on? It's an emulator, yeah, it's on the Super Nintendo. It's Final Fantasy 3/6.
Yep, you can get it on Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, PlayStation 1, iOS. It's on like pretty much everything now. It's on the Wii U store, all that stuff.
Surendus also asks, just watched your Zelda stream and was wondering what your personal favorite Zelda game is.
Probably A Link to the Past.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same answer.
Yeah.
Link to the Past. I mean, Link to the Past is a game that, like, doesn't age.
Yeah, it's
like,
it
still looks good. The thing with, you know, I of course, I liked Ocarina of Time, like everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, is really good. But the thing with that is that as much as I enjoy that game, like it will age.
It already has.
Because it's the 3D, it looks old, you know.
The same thing I was just complaining about applies to Ocarina of Time. Even though I love Ocarina of Time, obviously, like, love that game. It's a huge, open, empty field with nothing going on. Like, you go play that now, you're like, it's really boring walking from the woods to the castle and going across, like, before you can teleport and stuff. Like, it's not greatly designed, like, in the, like, hub world thing. Like, you can already see signs of it aging. But yeah, I mean, we both love it.
Art Posse Panic.
What is that?
We're getting creamed by a new group.
Oh my god, 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 oh my, what do we do? What's the right way to respond?
Sam Peterson Art. He sent everybody here to murder us and to cream us.
God, what's Art Posse? Why are you creaming us?
You just decided, you know. I saw a couple of youngins, and I'm gonna cream them hard.
Cream 'em.
And now we're sitting here, we're getting
Whoa.
fucked. So hello, all the new people who joined us. This is our casual video game stream.
Hello. This is where me and Dave talk about art and nerdy stuff while playing a video game. This happens at least once or twice a week.
Thanks for the host, beautiful Sam Peterson.
Thank you, Sam. Lovely, lovely human.
What are you doing being so lovely?
Oh, God.
You're tempting me, and I'm gonna be married soon.
Careful.
Get out!
It's fair game till you say the vows.
That's true. All right, come on over here.
He's got 40 days. How many days? What day is it? The 6th?
Well, the big one's the 10th.
Yeah, so he's got like... Wow. Yeah, he's got like 35 days to seduce you.
Man, you
Better get on it, man.
better find me.
Better find him.
Mike McDermott. Or McDermott. I don't know why I said that.
McDermott.
Mike Murdoch.
McDermott.
Mike McDermott.
Perfect.
Welcome to the stream. Mike Murdoch says, "What's up, Dave? Loving the Lichman book." Well, thank you, Dan and I. Dan's here too. Hello,
Hello.
Dan.
Hi.
We wrote, Steve did it together, and yeah, this is our stream for, you know, us to just like shill our shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just
Pretty
come on.
shameless.
Hey, you want to buy our book? You don't? If you don't, why don't you beat it? Why don't you scram?
Get out. Only two things we care about, and that's business and sales.
It's the same thing. You have to say
No.
something else. Business
No,
and
no.
pleasure. That's all we care
No,
about.
no, 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 no. Business is pleasure for guys like us.
Dinosaur just subscribed. What? Hey, Dinosaur, your prehistoric cream is all over me right now. So thank you so much. You did it.
Mm-hmm.
Love to you.
Cream's so
Beautiful.
strong, it takes a meteor to stop it.
That's right. Sam Peterson, you actually get married, Dave? How did I miss the news? Well, it's easy to miss. I'm not famous.
Like, follow, and subscribe Dave on all social media platforms, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram,
Like,
to get
follow.
wedding updates in real time.
Subscribe, and I will update you every step of the way with the wedding. And for those of you who have subscribed, you're invited to the digital wedding event, which is coming up immediately after the wedding. We're going to get right back to the stream and go live and say, you know what? Married.
You
Let's
can
do
go
it.
live. You can go live to Dave's wedding. We're gonna strap a GoPro to my head.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you can have the Dave Rapoza wedding experience live, one night only.
Yeah. You get to, you know, hopefully Dan gets hurt
We're
at
gonna
some
have Dan
point.
Cam. Someone's not gonna know I have Dan Cam on. They're gonna say something really personal and mean to me. Gonna go to the bathroom, forget to shut it off. You can see how many times I float back to the appetizer table. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be a solid experience.
Dude, we have so many apps.
Mm.
So many apps. You should see the desserts that we're gonna have. Desserts are really good.
Let me see if I can remember it. Based off, it was so many different things. I'm not gonna get it right. It's a... Ooh, God. It's a cheesecake thing with ganache frosting.
In the middle.
In the middle, and then what was on top? I can't remember.
What?
Oh god, I can't remember. It was so many things when you described it.
I mean, do you want to know the long and short of it?
Yes, go ahead. Describe it to the chat. Take them through the wedding process.
What does that mean?
What do you mean? All the things you're planning, all the things you had to do this week.
Is that the long and short?
Yeah.
The big and tall store?
The big and tall store, yeah.
All right. I mean, I can just
Give him the king size catalog.
Here are the things that are going to be at the wedding. Things that you can eat. All right?
Eat.
Is that funny to you?
I liked it. I like the emphasis on only the food. I was talking about the whole thing. I was talking about the rings, the location, the bar, the flowers, the florist, the invites, how you and Kim had to learn how to do the calligraphy. I got mine in the mail today, by the way. But if you just want to talk about the food, I guess that's good
Kim
too.
did the calligraphy. She's very good at it.
I guess we can just talk about the food, though.
What did you think about it? Did you get it and go, now that's fancy?
Yeah, it was pretty fancy. I liked it.
All right, cool.
I thought it was like a black envelope. I thought something bad happened. I was like, oh no, my friend's in love. It's good news.
I'm going to tell you, I was going to tell you what you're going to be able to eat, what you're going to be going to the app table for. That's why I was going to say it.
Go ahead.
Caprese salad.
Ooh.
Spinach salad. This
Ooh.
is not bad. It has Maytag blue cheese, raspberries, red onion, candied walnuts, and blue cheese vinaigrette. Are you kidding me?
Not bad.
Buttered asparagus with lemon zest, garlic mashed potatoes, butternut squash raviolis with
Whoa.
sauteed edamame and brown butter sauce,
Edamame.
pan-seared red snapper and roasted red pepper puree and topped with a basil pesto. What? Roasted chicken breast with sun-dried tomato cream sauce and wild rice pilaf. Are you
Cream
kidding me?
cheddar,
What
cream
kind of
cheddar.
what kind of wedding is this? Lamb T-bone served on a mushroom and corn succotash.
Whoa.
Sucking that down for sure. Dessert and coffee station with assorted gourmet mini desserts, which
Coffee
include
station.
yes, and an open bar with all kinds of alcohol. Only the best stuff. You want Makers and Coke? You got it.
A couple Long Island iced teas going down for sure.
You want you shouldn't do that. But you got it.
Yep.
You have it if you want it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
There's probably going to be some really good keg there of, and I don't want to promise this because I can't be 100% for sure,
Promise it.
but probably Left Hand Milk Stout, which is one of my favorite drinks. Does anybody know that stuff? Left Hand Nitro Milk Stout.
Nitro.
Beautiful drink. It's creamy, floats down the throat just right.
Floats.
You're gonna love it. I don't know what I missed in the chat.
Talk
'cause
about
I
the
was
cake.
reading that stuff. Oh, the cake. All right. So the cake has a buttercream frosting. It's a red velvet / cheesecake that
That's what
mixed
I
together.
missed. Yep.
And then the center of this cake has a chocolate ganache that's homemade Italian style. And pretty good. Pretty good.
Forgot about the red velvet.
Surrendus asks, I missed the first version of Steve Lichman. Will I be able to buy the first when the second edition comes out?
Yes. It'll be slightly different. It's going to be the same book. There's going to be a couple things fixed inside of it because we found them after we published it. It won't have the Kickstarter extras in the back because those were first edition exclusives. But it will be the whole book, all of the comics. It'll look the same as the first one with the blue cover and the gold stamping. It just won't have the first edition sticker on the inside of the front cover.
Yeah, but same comics. Gonna have the book. And it's gonna be a good book. Promise.
You can
Quality.
get book 1 with book 2 on the second Kickstarter if you want to grab both.
That'll be an option. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're super hyped. Just gonna have so many books to ship.
Yep.
But I hope everybody likes it. The second book we think is really strong
Yeah.
so far, so we're really hyped to get it out and
we
get
didn't
people
know,
reading it.
We didn't know till issue 15 of the first book that it was even going to be a book, so it kind of like starts as a webcomic and then becomes a story very suddenly in the middle, but book 2 is a book all the way through, so we think it's a lot stronger.
definitely stronger. And we had a ton of fun writing it. So
Plug that mailing list again, bro.
if you don't know and you do want a copy, but you're like, hey, I missed it, there's a mailing list. And in the mailing list, we won't bother you for anything. We're just going to send you an update when the book is live and you'll be able to purchase it. So you can check it out there. And yeah, we're gonna have it live on October 1st. The Kickstarter is going to end on Halloween the 31st. And then it's gonna be a pretty cool event. We got all kinds of stuff planned. We're gonna do a really cool setup for the whole thing. We have a video. We want to do, some more preview issues, all that kind of stuff, similar to what we did before.
For anyone listening on YouTube who isn't seeing the chat, that's http:// that's eepurl.com/BSHQCR.
/.
Speaking of slash, my parents are 63 and they went to a Guns N' Roses concert last week.
I thought Slash wasn't in Guns N' Roses anymore.
That's what I told my mom, but she told me no, it was definitely Slash. And I said, Mom, I think you're wrong. I think it's Buckethead, the greatest. I said, Mom, how is Guns N' Roses? And she said, that Slash can play guitar. And I said, I'm pretty sure that's not Slash, Mom. But hey,
Yeah, it's not Slash.
Well,
did they have a
whoever it
good
was,
time?
According to my mom, whoever it was is a hell of a guitarist.
Really?
Her words, not mine.
Hell of a
A
guitarist.
hell of a guitarist.
What about Axl Rose? Was he fat?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He's so fat that he's trying to get pictures of himself taken off Google with the right to be forgotten clause. That's a fact. That wasn't a joke. He's actually doing that.
Well, I'm happy.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
Yeah. I didn't realize how horrible Axl Rose is till I found those YouTube compilations of him quitting concerts.
Yeah.
He's great. Great guy.
It's like amazing how lame that is.
Yeah. Just sitting down, going, no. No, you know what? You're gonna throw bottles of water at the stage? Fine, we just won't play. Like, what a loser.
Yeah, it's pretty lame.
Grow up, dude.
I know, you do Terminator soundtracks, loser.
Yeah. Yeah!
Pretty cool.
So anyways,
No.
how much longer should we stay on here? How long have we been on here?
6 hours? I don't know.
Oh, shit. That's
Wow.
about right.
You can tell from the murky levels that I got going on, which isn't great.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not doing too hot, guys.
Is your butt still wet?
Let's just say it's moist.
Okay. It's a downgrade from wet. Doing better.
I think that I wore the right kind of cotton that absorbs the wetness.
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, but yeah.
Don't. You know what I'm talking about. If you wore polyester underwear, it is not absorbing that wetness. It's sliding right off.
Sliding right off.
I'm sitting in a leather chair right now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you got that fancy chair.
Yeah, so
Right.
as you can imagine, it's good for the seat.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
it
it's
sounds
not
pretty
that
good.
bad.
You're going to peel off when you get up.
No, not that wet.
Peel right off that seat.
I'll peel out.
I guess the real question is, do I do the ghost train, or do we call it?
Are you gonna cheat on the ghost train, or are you gonna fight it?
Dude, I'm going to fight it. I'm not going to Phoenix down.
Yeah.
I could, though. I want everyone to know that I could.
Dan wants you guys to know that he could.
I could cheese it. Not gonna. So,
Nate asks, "Oh God, this isn't another cashew debacle, is it?"
this isn't another what?
Cashew debacle. That's a
Oh,
callback.
no. That's leaky butt. That's not wet butt.
Yeah, that's leak.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing.
Dave's just got concentrated sweat on his butt right now. Stuff's not coming out of his butt. Cashews are the second.
Does anybody know what happens when you eat a lot of cashews without eating much else?
You do.
I'm just asking the chat.
Dave's gonna walk you through it.
I just want to say this. Don't do it. Because you won't even feel it. It'll just happen. And before you know it, you've been shooed.
Hey, Nate Hallinan, what's going on, buddy?
Ugh.
Nate Hallinan's a very handsome man that we've known for a long time, and it's a pleasure to see him.
Oh my goodness.
What's up, man?
I don't know. I got a burst pipe.
I'm really sorry. Gotta take care of that.
Have you ever... I don't know. When you were in school as a kid, you ever like pee yourself in class?
Pee myself in class? No, I didn't.
Never? Like nothing like that?
No, not that I can remember. I think that's
Never like shit a little bit?
I think that's one of the. I never shit myself, but there were a few times where I had to like run to the bathroom, but I don't think I ever shit myself.
I pissed myself in
trying
one
to
of my
think.
classes when I was a little kid.
I feel like just like statistically, I had to have shit myself or pissed myself at least once in grade school. Like that had to happen, right? But I don't remember it.
I know we've talked about it on here before, but still my favorite thing about school is when the kids try and look over the stalls and
Yeah,
see
that was
you
always
pooping or
weird.
peeing.
That was always the weirdest. The bullies would make fun of you by looking at your exposed body parts.
Stephen King.
Yeah, that was real strange.
Just Stephen King moments.
Yeah. Still don't get it.
It could have been in Stranger Things.
It's one of those too late things where you're never going to understand it, because if you ever do, you're one of them.
It's true. Sunny Boy 123 asks, any new cringe stories?
New cringe stories? No.
Well, Kim met a guy the other day named Dick Pyle, which I thought was pretty good.
Dick Pyle.
Like, what a terrible name.
She meets so many people with so many names at that job.
Yeah, well, I don't think this one was at the job. I wouldn't have said it.
Oh, wasn't it the pharmacy?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's illegal.
Sure. I didn't say anything, guys. Kim doesn't joke about anything at the pharmacy. You didn't. Just ignore that.
No, this was somebody from the school or something like that named Dick Pyle in like her like community group that she has to do on like the online courses. How do you name your kid? I don't know. Dick Pyle. That's too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's way too much. I feel like
Yeah.
they had to choose that name later.
Yeah.
And now we're on the ghost train.
Boo.
Boo.
I love the way the train looked.
Yeah. Super
That got
cool.
me so hyped when I was a kid. I was like, fucking yeah.
Everything in this game that went for that, like, really rich, decadent 1800s look, like the theater and the train, and, like, you know, just, like, everything's kind of gilded and Baroque. Like, I'd never seen that before in a game. I don't think anything did it before this.
Yeah, that was like the coolest.
So, as usual, if anyone has any questions or topics they'd like us to discuss, just put it in the chat. Tag me. I'm Daniel Warren in the chat. Or Dave. And if we see it, we will talk about it. After the Phantom Train's done, we're probably going to wrap the stream up. So we probably got like another 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, we'll be off of here and then back to the huge.
Mm-hmm. So anything, you can ask us whatever. We'll talk about whatever.
This game's so cool. Oh man.
Have I read Berserk? No, but I've been told to by quite a few people.
Yeah, I haven't read any comics in like so long.
I'm reading Akira for the first time. Super good. I haven't read Berserk though.
Yeah, what are you at in Akira?
I'm on the end of volume 2, going into volume 3. It's super cool. The drawings are like, I mean, it goes without saying, but the drawings are nuts.
Synth Fetish says, let's discuss Korean barbecue. Dude, Korean barbecue
Yeah.
is like one of my favorite things. It seriously is.
It's
Like,
super good.
when you were here, you had it, right?
Yeah, Kim made it.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's like, oh, that's one of those foods that I could eat forever and die eating. Like, I could never be full enough. I don't know. I hate when food tastes so good that all you can do is just eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't eat till you're full. You eat strictly for the taste,
Mm-hmm.
and you wait till it's all gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you eat till there's not enough left to taste.
Yep, everyone's got one of those foods where it's not about if you're full.
Kim's pork chops.
You just consume. Oh my god, dude. Kim's pork chops are not just of her recipes, they're one of my favorite recipes I've ever had.
Yeah, it's like insane.
I've tried to recreate those like 6 times now, and I can get close, but it never tastes quite right, and it's infuriating.
I know, and you go, how do you make that?
Yeah,
You just do this.
yeah.
Oh, you don't measure anything? No, it's just you eyeball it. Damn it, Kim.
Yeah.
I tried to make it myself too. I was like,
Did you really?
Yeah, it's just not possible.
But she's there. Why would you?
She's like super busy, and I'm like, how do you make it? Like, I'll make it.
But,
Can't
like,
make it.
I'm asking more from the point of view of like, Kim doesn't want to eat her awesome recipe when it's like, you know, not up to what it's supposed to be.
Oh,
That's got to be weird to ever be like, oh, honey, you did really well. Like,
oh, she
just
doesn't care.
feel
I just
bad.
go like,
Just stare at the ground.
I just tell her, I go like, look, I don't know anything, so these are garbage. For all
Yeah.
I care. Like, I tried, but I know they're not going to be great. I'm crazy OCD when it comes to recipes. Like, I cannot wing it.
Yeah.
I just can't. Like, I can't do it. Like, I don't know what that is. I do that with a lot of stuff, but I can't just wing it. Like, I can't go in and be like, oh, this and this, and maybe let's try this. I need a recipe that is just these things, and I get the exact amount. I like measure everything. I like weigh it on the scale. Like, I just go out of my mind. Like, I'm so afraid of fucking stuff up and making
pretty
shitty
great.
food. I don't know how people do that, like Kim.
Tio in the chat. I didn't see your question. I saw you post a couple times that you posted it earlier. Can you just repost it? Unless you see it, Dave. I can't scroll and play the game and talk at the same time, but if you repost it, we'll be happy to answer it.
Yeah, I am drawn.
Yeah, just repost it in the chat and we'll take a look. Oh man.
Zach
You know.
Beef asks, what do you think of the visual design of the floating continent?
Oh, I love pretty much all the visual design in this game. There's not much in this game that doesn't fit. That's the cool thing about this game is, as weird as it gets by the end, everything kind of fits. I love the at the end of this game, when you're going up the tower to fight the final boss, you fight like these living versions of the 3 statues that are on the floating island, like Goddess, Doom, and Poltergeist, and they're the coolest designs in this game. I always love seeing those.
Tio
All
says
memes.
Tio
What?
says it's long. So I'm guessing it's a guessing game.
So-
The Amazon
It's long?
Anacondas.
It's long?
He just doesn't want to put it in again.
If you don't put it in, we can't answer it, so... like, you gotta put it in, Tio. We don't care if it's long. Our answer will probably be much, much longer.
Yeah, I just scrolled through. I don't see your question.
Yeah, I didn't see it either, but just repost it. We'll be happy to answer it.
Yeah, sorry for the laziness, guys. We just phoning it in, you know?
Phone it in. My brain can't do more than two things. I can't play a game and talk to Dave and read something. I can't even talk to Dave and read something. Not possible. My brain will not do it.
Yeah, I used to think Dan was a dick, and then I realized, oh, he's just out of his mind.
He's just got a stupid brain that can't hear me when he's reading something.
So that means that there is a huge amount of people in the world that think Dan's a dick without knowing why.
We knew that anyway. We've known that for a long time. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably been a good number of people I've met that ask me something and I just don't respond because I didn't even hear them ask me it because I was reading something.
That's got to be like an ADD thing, right?
I don't know. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon to have like not process what you're hearing while you're also reading words. Like it's a fairly common thing. I can give myself like a migraine faster than anyone in the world. It's the easiest thing in the world to do to me. All I do is read something and put on two different sources of audio and my brain just shuts down.
Yeah.
I just can't. It's like I start sweating, I get manic. Like it's, yeah, that's the fastest way to make my brain just quit.
Uni Mooley 94 says or asks, Dave, can you tell a joke? I can actually. It's not even a joke. It's something that actually happened. So.
Oh wait, before you start, Tio said he posted it in the chat like 5 times, and he says he can see it, but we can't. Tio, my theory on that is that it's so long that Twitch thinks you're spamming it, so it's automatically deleting it for us. That's the only explanation I can think of. Dave,
Yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
not there. So here's a joke that's not really a joke. It's a relative of mine, an aunt. Her ex-husband was getting a U-Haul, and the guy at the U-Haul is a rental truck that you do for moving furniture and stuff. So they're moving out of their place. They go to the U-Haul location, and they're talking to the guy who runs it. And the guy who runs it, he asks, do you want a 15-foot truck or a 20-foot truck? And the ex-husband says, if it's a 20-foot truck, how do you drive under the bridge? So it's a real thing that happened. He thought the truck was 20 feet tall.
It hurts. Hearing it hurts. It's like a classic comedy setup. Like 2 hillbillies are moving out of their apartment. One of them says, "Do you want a 50?" Like it's literally one of those.
Yeah, it's real though.
Oh boy. I think I just heard someone knock on my door, so I'm like listening to see if someone's trying to find out if I'm real. I don't know who the fuck it would be. I hope no one's at the door. I'm just in here in boxers, sweaty, because my AC's off.
Oh, there's the question.
Hey.
TOS, hi guys. Well, T.O. Christofek. Hi guys, I have this problem. This might be a stupid question, but I need to ask somebody. I have 1 month to make my portfolio before going to a very important, expensive art event. Trojan horse is a unicorn to make some contacts, and if lucky, get a job. I really need to prepare, but I'm getting really frustrated and stressed because I just don't know what do I want my portfolio to consist of. Every time I try something, it doesn't seem right. The thing is that I don't know what theme I want my portfolio to be. Dave said you could do concepts that would fit into the game of your dream studio, but I don't really have one. I just don't want to do meaningless concepts that doesn't have any idea behind them or just pretty pictures. Any suggestions?
Yeah, I got 2 right off the bat. Number 1 is the cleanse I always talk about on here, where shut off the internet for like a week if you can. Like don't go on art websites, don't talk to artist friends, don't look at art. Remove it. Pretend it's a tumor. Cut it out of your life for like a week. As long as you can. Just get rid of it. And what you do in that time is you get a sketchbook and you just draw for yourself stuff that you think is cool on your own. Follow your natural inclinations, draw the stuff that you think you want to see, do the things that you enjoy. And by the end of that week, hopefully, what should happen, what happens for a lot of people is you start seeing a trend in your work. You start seeing certain things pop up repeatedly that, are showing up more than other things. You're having more fun doing certain things, different rendering styles, different line art styles, different subject matter, and you'll start to figure out what you actually want to do on your own when the internet isn't constantly bombarding you with what everyone else is doing and what you think you should do. That's a really good way to get back in tune with what you actually enjoy drawing. And the reason that's important is your portfolio should always be something personal, or it should at least have flavors in it of something personal to you, like what you're bringing to it. You might not even know if you're a character and environment person until you do this. You might just see other people doing something and assume that you have to do it because they're doing it. That happens to tons of people. And it's a really bad position to be in because then you think your portfolio has to be X, Y, and Z based on what other people say portfolio should be, based on what you see in their portfolios, based on trends. Like so many people think they have to do 3D because they see other people doing it, or think they have to do photo bashing because they see other people doing it. And you don't have to do anything. You can do your own thing. There's no rule for what a portfolio has to be. So I'd say get off the internet, stop stressing about what the portfolio is based on all these external sources. Start drawing for you and figure out what you actually like. And the other half of the answer is that yes, this is Trojan Horse is a big thing and it's a cool thing and you definitely want to network, but don't think that if you go to this event without a perfect portfolio, you won't make contacts and you won't make friends and people aren't going to take you seriously. How you act as a person to those people and what your interests are and what you discuss and how you behave is going to have way more of an effect on who you end up talking to and making friends with than your portfolio. Yep. If people go to an art event and they meet a guy with super great work who's a total dick, and they meet someone who's just starting out with a couple sketches in a sketchbook who's fun to talk to, 10 out of 10 times people are going to talk to the second person.
Yeah, nobody likes a disagreeable kind of like
what's going
whatever
on?
Person.
I came to visit.
The heck is that?
Okay. Kyle's here unannounced.
All right, tell Kyle get the hell out of here. I'm gonna answer the rest of this question.
All right, I'm gonna mute my mic.
Yeah, mute your mic.
Okay.
All right. I gotta turn you off too, Dan. Can you mute your mic in Skype? I'm just gonna mute my speakers. All right. So the other thing I would suggest is like kind of like a quick fix is if you have a favorite game, favorite world, or something like that, a thing that you like, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, Dan's playing Final Fantasy VI. So think about that game world, right? Like, one thing that I would say is, what if you were to take the thing that you like already and introduce your own kind of characters, your own take on those things? That kind of stuff will go a long way in like having some aesthetic there, something to base everything off of, so you don't need to like because you only have a month, right? So that will give you a base to go off of with a design style that you can bring your own characters into, and that'll help you inform your concepts as you go forward. And then you don't have to call it that thing. Like if you just did Victorian era kind of like fantasy designs, it might look as if it were from a Final Fantasy VI, but let's just say that you're doing it and, the designs there in your style. Then it won't necessarily be, totally derivative, and it will still look like your own kind of unique spin on that idea. And that's a way to kind of come in and be like, what would I do if I were working on this thing? And then just do your own characters using a design language that already exists. And that creates some kind of like immediate interest, and you're able to, hopefully bring out some pieces relatively quickly. But yeah, I think that stuff is super important. It's just like a base to go off of. Other than that, in the long run, I would do more of what Dan's saying. But Yeah. Just because you said you have a month, I think the easiest thing to do is to base it off of a few other ideas that already exist to kind of give yourself an idea of where to go. And then you have something that's kind of palatable that isn't totally random or feels incomplete or something like that. Dan left, and I really have to pee. That son of a bitch. Get back here. Get back. Dan. Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. This is going to be a silent stream for a second because I really, really have to pee. Oh my goodness. I'm back. Oh, finally. Oh, hey, Elu. So I'm just hanging out here while Dan's getting murdered. I can hear Dan getting murdered. Dan's getting murdered by a Kyle. Ow. And now my dog's all upset because I got up to go to the bathroom and she's like clawing at my leg in my lap. Yeah, ISIS took Dan. He's gone now. Dan? On. Oh. Duh. Yeah, we're gonna get off of here whenever Dan gets back. I'm sure because now he has company. I'm just gonna talk about some stuff that I've been doing. So we're doing some really cool stuff. We're just putting it together for the last shipments to go out for all our highest backers. It's gonna be super cool. Everybody was like, "Oh, you got this surprise tier. You didn't show anything. You didn't show the lunch boxes." And it's like, yeah, we didn't, but it's worth it. Swear to God. And now that we have that stuff, it's like, mm-hmm. Everybody's gonna regret it.
I'm
Not
here.
getting those beautiful things.
Just letting you know I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Where are you going?
Just letting Kyle out.
Does he have to pee or something?
Yeah, that's literally what he's doing right now.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'll explain in a minute.
All right. But yeah, we've been putting stuff together for the final stuff to ship out. I can't believe how long we've had to wait to put out the audiobook. Like we didn't want to do that at all. The audiobook is literally like 5 hours long. It's so insane. And we've just been sitting on it. Like, come on, Canada. It's so stressful. I just want all this stuff to be done because we've been in the middle of working on all of the book two stuff. It's just crazy. You don't really understand how much work it's going to be until you put it all down on paper and go like, you know, this is what it all looks like in a timeline, and then start to plan it out. And then you go, okay, this is going to take literally months. Like when we put book two down on paper, it actually equaled out to a total of about 8 months straight of work. If I, the idea being that if I could finish 60 plus pages a month, which is pretty insane for me. But yeah, like the whole thing of a book, like whenever anybody says that they're going to do a personal project now, I'm just like good luck to you. Like please, like you better be planning this thing, because if you don't have some kind of idea of where you're going with it, you don't have some kind of structure in place, it can just wherever. Because yeah, 8 months of just like honed in, totally focused work is what it takes to finish a like comic book like we're doing, which is like a simple style, and the approach to coloring and everything is all pretty simplistic. So yeah, I mean, like you can imagine if you're going to do a painted book, it would take like year plus to do like a short book.
Probably, yeah.
You got to get that stuff figured out.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
What's up?
That was one of those moments that,
Scares you?
no, that you feel like a terrible, terrible person.
Oh,
Like I feel horrible right now.
what did you do?
Well, it's like one of those things where, like, back when you're freelancing in Boston and stuff, like, friends would show up unannounced and be like, hey, we're here to, like, surprise you. Let's go have fun. And you're like, oh, get out of my home.
Right.
Like, I have to kick you out because I can't do that. I'm too busy to do that. And they're like, well, we came here. And you're like, yeah, I love you, but no. It's like, I don't know.
But my life is like 10 years planned in advance right now.
Yeah, and then they say, well, I saw you were streaming Final Fantasy VI. And you go, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yes, this does count as work for what I do. And yes, I do have to do actual work once I stop. And this is not a reflection of our friendship in any way. And if I knew you were coming, I would have said, hold up. But I don't exist in a world where surprises are possible.
Yeah, I was sitting, I was talking to this person who was like, hey, can you do some work for us for our like video game? And, because whenever I do concept work, it's a commitment.
Mhm.
Like I'm not just doing 2 concepts, I'm doing like a whole bunch for a game.
Yeah.
So I'm on the project usually for a couple months. Sometimes. Depends on what it is. But like I had to respond to them and I was just like, oh yeah, like when I tell you my schedule, I just put it down literally. I'm like, I won't have free time to do this until 2018.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I was like, if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
And then there's
Like I have something to do until 2018, summer of.
Dude, I feel like a monster in a movie right now. Like I feel fucking horrible now. Like, cause then when I heard the knock at the door. Remember I said that on the stream. Like I think someone's knocking at my door, and then like 10 minutes went by without anything.
Yeah.
So basically, this is where I have to be completely honest because it's just the reality of it. When I saw him jumping in the window, he crawled through the bushes and started jumping in the window and tapping on it, and I was like, oh, it's Kyle, one of my closest friends, and he came here to surprise me. How nice. Then I turn around and look around, and I'm like, my apartment is in a state of filth that I want no human to witness because I've been here boxing books and not leaving the house for 2 weeks. And then I'm like, what do I do? And I start running through rapid fire in my head. I'm like, oh, shut all the lights off, then they can't see anything.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I mean, the only thing I'll do is in the mornings now, I reply to every single message that I get. Like that's my devoted time. I was doing it like sporadically for a little while, but like that's my only connection to life.
Yeah.
Really, is when I do that. And sometimes I'll do it like before bed or something. But my only other thing is like talking to you on the phone if you call, or talking to Kim when she calls.
Yeah.
But I haven't left the house in going on like 3 months now.
And like, if I didn't know that this was so common, I wouldn't care. But anyone listening who's a dude, freelancer, who's single and lives in an apartment knows how bad it can get. And it's bad.
Oh, it's bad.
It's bad. So I'm like, okay, I shut all the lights off so he can't see anything. And then he comes in and he says the 3 words that I was... Well, hold on, how many words is it? Yeah, it's 5 words. The 5 words, the only 5 words in the whole English language I was hoping he wouldn't say, which is, can I use your bathroom? And I go, yes, give me a minute. And then I go in the bathroom and give it a once-over. And outside the door, he goes, I can pee outside if you want. And I go, no, hold on. And I take all the beard clippings from when I went to the wedding the other day that are on the counter, and I throw those away, and I quickly sweep the floor, and I quickly wash around the sink, and I check the toilet, and then I go, okay, you can now pee in this still filthy room. It's still terrible in here. Go ahead. I have not existed in the world of the living for almost 3 weeks, and my apartment reflects that in every way, shape, and form, and I cannot believe that just happened. And then I'm like, now you must leave and drive back home, which is an hour and a half away. Thanks for coming to surprise me, friend.
Yeah, dude, surprises do not work. Like, when somebody suddenly comes over here,
I feel like such a dick.
When somebody comes over here suddenly, I get anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm just like, good.
Yeah.
Or like Kim's like, oh, there's a birthday coming up. I'm like, when? The weekend. I'm like, no. I'm like, now I have to do like something powerful before that happens. Like I have to summon this new strength that's going to deliver on way more shit than I was planning.
Because I'm sitting there and I'm like, I went to the gym today and did training and came home, and I know I didn't take a shower after I went to the gym because I'm alone here, and who cares? And then I go, oh, now he's going to smell how bad I smell. And my apartment's a mess, and my bathroom's a mess, and I have to tell him to turn around and drive home. Friend of the year. Like, I feel like a terrible human. Hopefully anyone who freelances and knows what that feeling is like understands what I'm talking about. Because Jesus Christ, it's so specific. The shame of it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, it's one of those things that next time I hang out with them, and actually hang out with them, I'm gonna have to bring it up in a joking way just so I'm okay with it. Like, ha 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 ha. Man, you know, last time I saw you, I was real busy, and they're like, you don't do this. Just let it go. Let's just both pretend.
That was like when I first started studying. I did that to Dan. Mm-hmm. I did that to Dan right here. Let's go out. I can never see you again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not until I've done something can we talk.
Yep.
That was like when I became committed to doing something with art.
I remember that. I remember that discussion.
Yeah, we can't hang out. We can't like go to eat bad food in the middle of the night. Can't do anything.
When I realized that you were right a couple of years later, then I had to do that to my family and all of my friends, and I had to take them out and have the same conversation.
Yeah, it's the thing that I like. I've come to the realization at this point in my life that I don't know, it's like you read the things on Facebook of people saying like, when artists say that you gotta give it all up to do it, you do not have to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, like art shouldn't be about that. And it's like, well, then you'll never be a professional. Like, I'm sorry. You'll never be, like, if it isn't something that you enjoy doing and that you're like happy to devote time to and it's your passion, then you probably won't make a living with it. And you have to be, it has to make sense to you in your head to do it. to be like, okay, I'm going to do this now, and the sacrifice will be worth it because I'll be able to do, like stuff like we're doing now, like we're making books. And it's like, yeah, it sucks in the beginning, but like I can't tell anybody now with a straight face. Like I can't say like, oh yeah, take it easy anymore. Like it isn't possible. Like after doing the first book, I'm like, if you really want to do something, you got to give it all up. Like for a little while, at least. For a little while.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
totally
like,
agree.
and then that's just what it is, and it sucks to hear that, but you gotta really give everything to it, and then hopefully, you make something of yourself. But I really don't see any other way to do it casually. I mean, like nobody becomes great at anything casually. It just doesn't happen. That's not the real world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. Like as sad as that sounds, it's like it's not sad if it's something that you have in you that is like driving you to do something. Like if you really want to be this person doing this kind of thing, it's not like, it isn't like gonna destroy you, but it is, it disappoints other people for sure.
Oh yeah, I feel terrible right now. I'm gonna feel bad about this for like a couple weeks. Like this is gonna stick with me. That was a super nice thing for him to do, and I just threw it away.
Yeah.
I went, oh, cool, and crumpled it up. And now I'm gonna have to like, I don't even know. I'm gonna have to do something super nice to apologize. I feel terrible about that. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to have the you're your own boss thing where you don't have the normal off hours other people do. Because like you can't like explain it to them. They're like, oh, we'll just take a break, and you're like,
you do this thing, you do your own thing. It's like, well, I have to be as strict as if I were the person running this company, because
exactly.
I am. It's like, would you let somebody working for you on a job just whenever a friend shows up, oh, I'm gonna leave for the day?
Yeah.
Like you would never do that. That doesn't happen in jobs. So why would that happen in this job?
I need you to understand that what you're saying theoretically sounds good, but I need to go fight the Phantom Train in the Ghost Forest right now. And you just gotta get out of here.
Yeah, it's dark. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like the only reason like my relationship works right now is because Kim doesn't actually hate everybody.
Yeah.
but
right.
She's definitely okay being like just alone, just me and her. Like she doesn't need to do anything. She doesn't need a bunch of friends. She doesn't need to party. She doesn't need escapes. She's just fine hanging out, and she would rather do that. And thank God, because I couldn't live the way I do right now and have that not be the case. I don't know how people like with relationships survive the kind of like she eventually during the whole process of making the book, she was like, you gotta help me with more stuff. Like I'm doing so much stuff around the house.
Right.
Like you just have to help me because I can't cook all the meals, do all this extra stuff. And I'm like, I know. Like I know. I totally get it. Like if that were happening to me, I would be equally as bummed out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, then it's just, okay, so now my normal life is I got to do all this other stuff too while doing the book. And it's like, not that it's hard or not that I've like, like she's doing as much work as I am. So it's kind of just like living up to that, trying to make it equal.
Ironically,
it's crazy.
As we talk about this, we're watching a scene where Cyan says goodbye to all the people in his life as they leave because he has to stay behind.
Yeah.
He has to stay behind and do the job he's chosen to do. And he says goodbye to all of his loved ones.
That's exactly right.
Great way to end. Perfect metaphor. Here we are, alone in the woods, freelancing.
Yeah. The train has left.
Now the only friends we have left are like-minded people trying to do the same things with their lives, also all alone.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, that was a little too poignant. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah. We'll see you soon.
Get through those woods. And YouTube.
YouTube, life is a phantom train. You can either choose to Phoenix down and give up, or you can keep on going.
Fight that train.
You can fight the train or you can Phoenix down. You know what I mean?
True
That's
darkness.
just the way life is.
Goodbye, YouTube.
Goodbye, YouTube.